I'm caps lock different. It's facts, non-fiction. Said I black out for real, then the track gone missing. If it's cap, I'm dipping. We ain't talking about a move, then it's flatline finished. When I spaz, I'm grinning. Put the peel off in the Sadies and I pass by spinning. It's perks with this life, but I don't have my skinach. Took a quick trip and now I'm back home winning. And I see they eyes pop like I snack on spinach. Pull up to the spot, she tryna grab my digits. I'm already 8 shots, a Henny past my limit. Here you go. Hazards with a dash full of tickets. I'ma act like I don't see them. I got bad eye vision. Y'all can't pass my scrimmage. While y'all tripping, it's Aruba. I realized I had to go and flip the
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 163 of the Psychotic and Iconic Sports Podcast. Today is a special edition episode, not sports related. We are talking about life. I have a special guest in the fucking building. He goes by the name of Jay Hollywood from Listen, I'm a Barber podcast. Jay, what is good, baby? What's up?
So, dude.
What's up, man?
What's good,
Let's
man?
get it, dude. What's up? It's so good to have you back on, man. It's been a little while. But yeah, we're ready to kick it. Let's get into it, man. Let's talk about some real shit that's going on in life. And I know last night you went to an event. You want to talk about that? You want to share some light?
Sure. Hell yeah. It's funny because, when you're younger, everybody tells you, be nice to people when you grow up.
Yeah.
I had somebody that I was always real cool with back in the day, and they had hit me up to actually cut for the Post Malone concert last night.
You heard that? Who?
Post Malone.
Say that a little louder, bro.
Posty.
You fucking deserve that.
Thanks, man.
You do, man. You put a lot of years and effort into your craft, and now people are giving you your flowers, and well deserved.
I appreciate
That's
it.
awesome.
Thank you.
So, any more information you want to divulge, or you just want to leave it at that?
Nah, to chop on it real quick. First off, Post is really cool. He is as down to earth as everybody says. It's not a social thing. Like, he's just a regular ass cat that just puts out fire shit.
He's just a regular dude.
Yeah, there's nothing behind his gimmick. Like, that's just who he is. But I didn't cut Post hair. He's growing this like crazy style he's got, but I cut every single one of his like managing road crews. So I got to understand what it takes to do just Post Malone side. It takes 100 people for Post Malone to perform.
Wow.
100 people.
Wow.
And we're not talking like anything inside the venue, the concessions, the tickets, like all that stuff. This is just for Post to step on stage and start performing. It takes 100 people. And I cut the 10 most important people in each sector. And they broke down the whole fucking thing, touring, the finances, how they sleep, when they stop working. And I'm like, wow, it blew my mind, dude. And
That is so crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy. 100 people just to perform a concert. Like, that is like, he's keeping people busy. He's employing 100 families.
Well, you ready for
I
this?
salute that.
That's not a lot, actually. Drake has 300. And this is how they were breaking it down to me. Drake uses 300 roadies.
Ooh.
And then Beyonce uses 500 roadies. Because I'm talking to these people. This is what they do. They do events and shit. So when they were talking to me about the whole thing, I was like, so how does this shit work? And they were breaking it down like, oh, Post actually has a relatively small road crew. I'm like, so 100's a small amount? And then after just talking to a bunch of people, I'm like, damn, this is a family. Like, they work with each other for months and months and months on end. And, getting to talk to them and see how their experiences were, I was like, oh my God, like, this is some sick shit.
That's so cool, because I feel like that's a lot of coordination on just everybody's part, right? Like, you have to communicate. You have to know what your role is. 100 people, that's a lot of people to like make sure they're doing the right thing at all times. That's a lot of people. But 300, like, what's the difference between, like, why was Drake have 300 versus Post is 100? Is there any, like, is it based on just stage presence, or just based on just special effects? Like, what is that?
Okay, so I cut the head pyrotechnician. Now, he explained how he was unloading. Like, me, I love doing fireworks on 4th of July.
Yeah.
So he was explaining that he had to organize 400 cake rounds for the show. Now, I shoot off probably like anywhere from 18 to 25 cakes, like in one box at a time. So this guy actually schedules where the explosions go off, how long it takes, where Post is on, where he's at on the stage at all times. Like, That's just one part. Then you got the carpenter who builds the stage set. Then you got the music director who, organizes all the people doing the cello and the drums.
Yeah.
And then you got the guy that tells post where to go and where not to go. And then you got the stage manager himself making, dude, it's like that fucking scene in Casino where he's like, the dealers are watching the players, the pit bosses are watching this guy. And it's like the eye in the sky sees it all, but like that's how it was. And it was really cool. They're bringing me back to do 50 Cent show,
that's fucking crazy. That is so awesome, man.
It's a blessing, man.
50 Cent.
Yeah,
bro, you deserve that, man. I'm going to be real and I'm going to be honest with that. You deserve that. You've worked really, really hard.
Thanks, man.
For that opportunity. And I'm happy for you as a friend. And, I called you, I think it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday. Yeah. It was just last night.
Yeah.
I called you and I said, yo, Jay, I just wanted to call you just to wish you the best of luck and everything. And,
I was nervous. I'm not even gonna lie to you and tell you that I wasn't nervous. I've been put in really cool positions in my career over time of being in different countries and being flown out here and flown out there. And that's been such a blessing. But to be called to do this show, I was like, I thought the girl was actually like fucking with me. Like she's maybe gassing me up. I'm like, because, we didn't speak for like a couple weeks after she asked me. I'm like, oh, damn, maybe
the ship sailed.
Yeah.
Possibly. And you're like, oh, fuck, I was really looking forward to that. So,
And then I realized she was explaining it to me. She was like, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you. I have 47 other vendors that I'm talking to at the same time. So I'm like, okay, so she didn't like forget
blow you off. Yeah, she actually, okay. She's just busy as hell.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
And that's why I was like, I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
That's a hustle right there.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, man, it's been a pretty decent amount of time since you've been on this show. A lot of things have happened from that time frame. I got engaged, Phil got engaged, and you got engaged, man.
Yeah.
Like that's a blessing, man. Let's give a round of applause for us one time, like let's just do it. Like that's amazing. Those are good life events. And after a little while, I start to think about like marriage and stuff like that. Because when you're in the planning process of weddings, you really start to think about it. And the question that stuck out to me was, what does marriage mean to you?
I'm going to start this one off.
Yeah. I want to know what marriage means to you.
Marriage is deep to me.
Huh.
Marriage is super deep. It's one word with 1,000 different spider webs like kind of attached to it. I think it is a very overused term. I think it is misunderstood. And I have like a particular, like, what do you want to call it? Like a standard. So my standard is going to be different than yours, which is going to be different than Phil's. It's, it is what it is. But what it means to me, it means commitment. And I think commitment is another word that people just casually throw out there. Oh, I'm committed. I'm committed to this. And it's like, how much struggle have you been through to still stay committed? And I'm listening to a lot of people, especially in the barbershop all the time, talking to me from all different levels and perspectives of where they're at, either in their engagement part, the I just got married part, the I'm 5 years in, and oh shit, I'm 20 years in, and shit, we divorced. And everything all in between. And listening to people for so long about marriage, I have a very skewed perspective. Very, very skewed perspective. And I think that love is not enough. It's not. There is a lot of people, and I'm not going to say that this is everybody. I'm just going to merely speak from my experience.
Yeah,
people that
that's
I represent.
Good. Okay.
This is my shop of people that is like this. Weddings, marriage, all that shit has to have some type of logic. I mean, how many times can you say you've made a bad decision because it was emotional, and not for the moment, but it may have thrown you off track 6 months down the road because you made a choice off of emotion 6 months prior. Now, we're not using marriage as the example. We're just using anything. You got angry, you called your buddy, and it was like, fuck you, dude. Like, I can't believe you. And then you sit back like 2 days later. It's like, wait a minute. I was the one that fucked that. Yo, dude, I'm so sorry. I was in my head. I was in my feelings.
Yeah.
And I didn't look at the whole perspective. Weddings, to me, it's so fucking serious. People just throw it around like it's fucking like it's a $20,000 Honda 6 years ago that it's easy to afford, and it's not that bad. And it's just like, no, like this is the shit that actually, like, a wedding could actually destroy any future progress you have with a woman if you don't understand why you're getting married.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally agree.
We talk about society a lot and how there needs to be a standard, and every woman I've ever dated, it's been very few. I think I've only truly dated and loved 2 people in my life. The rest, here today, gone tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But, when I hold the standard, it's like, you want to start off with love first. You want to be able to love that person. I feel like that's the first thing. Like, you're attracted to them, you love them, you get your rocks off to that person. And it's like, okay, if you got to that point, it's like, well, that's not enough to make a decision to share the rest of my life with you and everything I build, but that's a great fucking start.
So do you think that people just live in the moment? Like what they're feeling right there is like, oh, I want you to be my wife. Let's go get married. Let's go get engaged. Let's do all that good stuff because everybody else is doing it. So you think it's an outside influence, and part of that is like living in the moment as well?
I think so.
You think a lot of people have kind of towed the line of that?
I think a lot of people
Interesting.
are there participating in marriage and all this shit really just as something they think they need to do at the time that they're doing it. Like I was with somebody for 11 years and did not get married, and everybody's like, oh, you should have been married 5 years ago. You should have put a ring on it. You should have did this and you should have did that. And I'm like, yeah. So you were living my life and you could tell me how to plan the rest of my fucking life?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you can't do that. And unfortunately, I've had talks with my mom, people in my family. I'm like, yo, do not control my life to the way you need to see it. I said, I'm already a very unique individual. I don't do things like to the common grain. I think a little bit deeper than what everybody else is thinking. I don't want to be in the same trap that I see 90% of the people that are married get stuck in. And we talked about this. I'm sorry
to cut you off.
No,
but like, I think that you have such a deeper perspective of everything because of the amount of people that you come across on a daily basis coming into your shop. So I feel like you get every single angle. Yeah. And then there's a common, but then there's a common angle, right? There's a common angle. And I think that's what you're talking about. You're referring to the common problems that I'm hearing on a daily basis about somebody's marriage, whether they should have got married at that time or in 10 years, whatever. So I think what you're saying is you think that society, and I agree with you, society kind of paints this like picture that you have to be married by 30. You got to be engaged by a certain age. Like you got to do things by a certain age. And why the fuck does it have to be like that? Like, who the fuck are you to tell me how to live my life? Type of shit. Is that what I'm kind of like?
Let's teeter off this for a quick second and let's just talk about structure for a quick second, right?
Yeah.
I was raised by my mother and my father, and they are still together today. So one, I physically see a structure that, okay, it's still working.
Yeah.
And it's not to put my parents down or anything.
Same here though. Same here. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. That's awesome. It's rare. It's rare. I love my parents. I love
tough.
That. Yeah. They taught me so much about love.
But they're different.
Yeah, they're different.
Let's be
real.
Different. They're in a whole different breed. And this is also why I find weddings to be a lot harder too. I'm going to kind of spin this a little bit, but I'm going to go back to structure for a quick second. A wedding, it's a day for people. Somebody like me, and I do believe a lot of men are like this. It's not a day. It's the rest of your life. That's what a fucking wedding is. That is the first day to the rest of your fucking life with that one person. And I think everybody in their fucking mind and their mother is like, oh my God, let's fucking celebrate. And it's like I always said, I wanted to be with the person that I wanted to be with and be married years down the road. I want to be married years down the road because I want to go through this with you without such a fucking responsibility. We've talked about this in the shop, and this was a big group fuck up one time. Because a couple of dudes like kind of almost wanted to fight each other over this. And I'm like, oh, let's take a step back. And it's like, you see people in today's society kind of roll into a a perspective of they need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
They need to progress. They
Yeah.
need to be here. They need to compare. They need to keep up with the Joneses. And he had a 50K wedding. Well, we need to have a 55K wedding. And it's like, listen, whoever dick is bigger here ain't pleasing anybody any differently. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the problem. Like, I have a hard time with believing that the reception is the wedding, because that's what it is to almost every female I've ever spoke to. To me, it's the fucking moment when you're standing at that altar and it's like, do you take this person in all your vows and all, like, do you really take this person? And it's like, when you say yes, do the people who are getting that moment right there really know what responsibility they took on at that moment? Oh, let's get the cameras on us. Let's get the videographer. Let's get the flowers. Let's get this. I'm the guy sitting there looking at that altar like, that man just said, yeah. This motherfucker knows. It's like, this dude just said yes. And the girl's like, I do. Googly eyed, tears rolling down her face, emotional as fuck. And it's like, yeah, well, what if that dude breaks his fucking back? What if he can't work no more through sickness and in health, correct?
You still rocking with him after that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Nobody's doing that.
Right.
I hate to say it. Maybe some of the older generation will sit there, but I'm also going to sit here and say the older generation also didn't have as many opportunities and options that we have today.
Yes. So you're going back to social media and looking at all these, you know, just women all across the social media with their ass hanging out, their tits showing, like all that. Like, I get it.
I mean, it's false though. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely, dude. It's all false. It is. I totally agree.
But let's get to it though.
Well, let's get to it. Like, to me, so marriage is a lifelong commitment, and I totally agree with you. I believe it's a commitment. I think love, trust, communication, respect. I think all of those things tie into marriage along with the commitment. Like, commitment is just one word, but like you said, there's a lot of like spider webs that are attached to it. And I think that's the kind of same way that I feel about commitment. Yeah. Because if I'm committed to something, I trust in it. I love it. I'm going to communicate everything I can to do what I need to do to accomplish it, whether it includes people or myself. And that's what I believe that marriage is.
I also know you to speak objectively though. Like, yeah, you are very objective as a person. That's why you're able to get a lot of things done.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I believe in that same thing. Like, marriage to me is a little bit objective. You know, I actually think marriage is the least emotional thing in the world. I think it has to be truly logical to get married. Like, listen, I have watched people, myself, and just so many things in between either fall out of love, lose the love. And it's like, I'm not here to do something based upon love. Our life experiences can change in a day, and something could awaken something that was never there. I want to do things based upon, okay, we have figured this out. This is the plan we play. And I could love you for following that. Like, I can, like, to me, I can love somebody for creating a structure that I'm going to put my time into. They follow it. And it's like, oh shit, we have now as a team completed this. Like, my wife has to be my teammate. Yeah. I'm not supporting my wife.
Perfect.
I'm going to support with her.
So happy you said that word, teammate. That is everything in the relationship. That is. I compare marriage to a sports team, yes. Right? The reason why the sports teams are successful is because they're committed. And then not only they're committed, they love each other, they respect each other, they communicate, they have continuity, they have a structure. There is something in place for them to build. It's like, that's, to me, marriage is like, I'm living life with my best friend. I am conquering every single ups and downs in my life. You're going to experience it with me. We're going to be on this journey together. I love you. You're my best friend. I am committed in this relationship. So marriage to me is all of those things. It's like a sports team. I always equivalate that to that. Like, to me, that makes sense for me. Yeah. And that's what I actually believe. Like, if you look at all the bad sports teams, those are the teams that are getting divorces. They lose their coaches. They lose their quarterbacks. They start to lose fans.
I love this.
You know what I mean? So yeah, there's a lot of, so like they lose everything in the end when you are a bad teammate. But if you're a good teammate and you guys are good together,
you win.
You fucking win. But going back to what you're saying is you got to actually know when you are up at that altar and you say yes, you are taking on a lifelong commitment, not just a 3-month commitment, not just 3 years. You have every intention of being with this person for the rest of your life until your last fucking breath. You should honor it. I am the kind of guy that will honor that, something like that, because I put myself in that position because I truly want to be with that person. Like my fiance, the reason why I got engaged to her, because I love her, for one, and two, I want her to be my life partner forever. And I'm okay with, like, I am very committed to saying that. I have no shame of saying that. And I'm very excited for what's to come for the both of us, truthfully. And I think a lot of people like get like nervous, and I get nervous too in terms of the financial aspect of marriage. I get nervous. But the marriage and stuff, I'm not nervous because I know my partner. I know she rides for me. I know she I know she does all those things. You know what I mean? Like she is there for me through thick and thin. Like when I have a bad day at work, bro, that is the one person I want to see. And she just makes my day so much better. And that's when I knew that like this was the one for me.
So that I got to piggyback that because that's big. I guess the guys in the shop, and I guess myself as well, I was never ever going to marry somebody that didn't make, like, I look at it as if you're going to get married to somebody, that's the person that you need to go to.
Yep.
Like that's who it is. It's like, yo, that's the person that is going to make your life better. And I think both parties need to understand that. It's like, yo, are you going to make my life better? That's why I'm signing half of my life to you. And you are signing half of your life to me. Are we going to truly understand that commitment?
Yeah.
And here's my thing. I'm going to say this kind of wild, like, and I know my fiance is watching this right now, but
say what you need to say.
Nah, because we've talked about this plenty of times, and it's just, you know, to say it this way, you know, because we're on the topic. It's like when I first met her, we were just cool. You know, I don't even think I even kissed her for like 3 months, like, because I was just cool with her. I was like, she was really cool. And then next, you know, we had went out to get breakfast, and you know, we just kind of hit it off. And I was like, all right, you know, how people say, oh, I knew day one. It's like, nah, I didn't know. Like she was like the girl that I was like, I met her on vacation. She was cool. I had some things going on in my life at the time. And I'm like, I don't know if this is right. I don't have that great feeling that people are talking about because I just got mad shit going on in my head.
Yeah.
But here's what turned. And this is what I think gave me the reason that I proposed to her. We had some things going on in our life. And I watch certain people when they actually go through stress, their partner gives up on them. Their partner doesn't really try to help them, or if anything, know how to even grow to understand the person's problem. I think in some ways, like I hear people break up over the dumbest shit because they literally cannot handle communicating a very small issue.
I have a lot of stories. I don't think I could divulge those stories on here because it's somebody else's business. But yeah, there's a lot of shit that you hear. Like you're like, you guys are fighting about that, and that caused you guys to like break up. Like I am confused. Like that's how weak you guys are, like in a relationship.
So, and they're the people that I hate to say this, like they're the ones that are telling you, I can't wait to be married. And oh yeah, we're going here, we're going there. Oh, you're not going to believe the photographer, this, that. It's like, yo, how much more do you want me to suck your dick? Like congratulations. I get it. You want to show me that you want to spend a lot of money to party for 5 hours. Congratulations. I think you just made the first mistake of your fucking marriage. Blowing 50 fucking grand that you don't have. Like, and I say this very candidly because people that got money, they got money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If they can afford to spend that money and it does not affect the outcome of their marriage, then yeah, by all means, spend the money. But when you're mortgaging your life and years of your life for 5 fucking hours, that is mind-blowing to me.
It is crazy.
And let's be real here. The average person that I know, and I'm not putting nobody on blast, you know, if the shoe fits, wear it right now. But if you had a wedding in the last few years, I know who you are. I know what they make. I cut their fucking hair. I'm very disappointed that we go through all these talks in life about progressing and watching our finances and trying to grow this and grow that. And like, yeah, dude, I just spent $6,000 on a fucking videographer. I'm like, what? Like, you did what? $6,000. That could have changed your life in 10 years had you put it in the right place. You don't even got to add to it. And to me, when it comes down to weddings and even relationships, like I said, I've only been in 2 relationships, only 2. because I only took 2 people in my entire life that seriously.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, I'm no fucking millionaire. I may do well, but like I'm still working. I'm still in the race to get my life to where it needs to be. If someone threw a $50,000 monkey wrench into it because somebody wanted to have a big fucking party, it's like, are you trying to destroy the longevity of our relationship? Like when that 10 years passes, we put that 50 G's away, you know, and we just kind of save up and kind of get back to like, how long does it take to save $50,000? That's a lot. That's even more time. Life is about time to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to waste it. I'm not trying to fucking waste all my time for a party.
Yeah, I get it.
$50,000 is kind of average nowadays. So it's kind of like, yo, what's it going to take while you're living your life to save up 50 grand to have that one day? And yeah, some people are like, it was the greatest day of my life. 90% of the men that I talk to are like, dude, I'm behind on my mortgage. I can't make this payment. I'm in debt. And it's like, but you had a $50,000 party just to tell people that you decided to fuck each other for the rest of your life. Congratulations.
So
I'm firing off.
You know what's funny about that?
Firing off right now.
No, it's so funny about that because like I'm the same way as you. Like I can't wrap my head around paying $5,000 on fucking flowers. They're gonna die the next day. Like I am with you, but when we're talking about marriage and we're talking about longevity, and I thought about this, and I think my answer is going to change, and you're going to be surprised by this.
Okay, all ears.
So I agree with you. The financial aspect, yes, that is so fucking true. It's ridiculously expensive. If you can't afford it, don't get fucking married. It's just the bottom line. If you just can't afford it, and you and your spouse are not on the same page financially, please do not get married. You're gonna go down the wrong path. It's just the bottom line because you got to communicate with your partner. My partner and I, we communicate. That's why we're able to afford this wedding. Even though I'm in student loan debt and I have a mortgage and I have everything, I make a pretty good living to afford those things. But we communicated. We communicate, and that's how we're able to navigate to get our wedding. But what I think I changed on was the money aspect of it in totality, because I think I'm living for right now instead of 10 years. Like, I don't know how a courthouse wedding versus a wedding that she really wants would affect her emotionally in 10 years if we did go to the courthouse route.
Can I ask you a question? To literally
emotionally, I just because I feel like a lot of people just want, I mean, I think it's just a feeling that they got married. They had their day. I don't want to affect her emotionally years down the line because we made a financial smarter decision now for the short term, but in the long term, it's going to affect us. I don't want that. So I'm playing the long game.
But you're also speaking in a sense as if, like, from how I'm listening to what you're saying,
yeah,
that she will never get the wedding. Like, that's how I'm listening to what you're saying.
Oh, no.
Exactly. No, that's my thing.
Okay.
I have no problem celebrating a successful partnership. Like, if you are successful in what you're doing with somebody and you have built things together, that's a part of marriage. You're able to build, because here's where I'm at right now. And I'm going to get some heat for this when I go back to the shop. I'm going to get so much heat for this.
Let's talk about it.
But here's the twist, man. There's a lot of people that are just getting by financially. They're able to plan things out in their life and have like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And it's like they're the dream. And I don't think this is a man's dream. Very few guys I know were like, oh my God, dude, I can't wait to fucking spend money on a wedding. Like, they were just like, nah, I just can't wait to be with my girl. You know, I'm going to make that choice. Like, this is the one, you know, so they want the party. The men want, you know, the relationship. Like, it sometimes is a crazy dynamic because I listen to both sides, and I would never, ever want to take away my girl's, you know, ideals of getting married and having that day. I would never do that to her. But I also would look at it as, you know, there's a big three in my book that I feel like almost every woman wants at some point in life. And I know we're gonna spin this one pretty good. Yeah, Phil, we need you in on this one too.
Phil's in the building.
So here's the big three, right? A woman wants a home to live in, a child, and marriage. It's a big three. You know, the family, the marriage, the home. That's a big three, right? That's the big three. Now, I remember
that's life.
Yeah. Now here's where it got crazy, right? When I first proposed to my girl, I had almost gotten to a point of like almost breaking it off with her. And this is going, I mean, she's probably hearing this now for the first time, but like I was almost ready to be done because I was like, yo, I had just proposed to you. I had just made the biggest choice of my life to spend it with you. And the first thing you can think to do is, oh my God, we need this venue, this venue, this venue. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yo, slow down. A week later, she's still rolling it. And I'm like, yo, how fast do you want those big three? Do you want it in a year? Do you want it in 2 years? Like what's going to be logical for me to be able to give you those three things? Because if we're house shopping now, wedding planning, and trying to start a family soon, it's like, yo, within a year or 2 years, we're going to lose 20% of the income to take care of a child, 40% for the fucking house. You know what I'm saying? And all the money we saved to have the wedding. It puts somebody, and especially a couple, in such a financial strain that it's like, if most women would just give it a little bit of time, I think they would be able to succeed in their relationships better, because a lot of women don't understand how many dudes come into my shop and they're like, man, I'll do anything for my girl, but damn, it's fucking killing me. And I got to a point with my girl, I'm like, yo, I'm breaking my fucking ass to give you something, and you don't even understand how that feels.
Yeah.
And that's where like the resentment starts to come in. It's like, do you know what I'm actually doing to give this to you?
Can I play devil's advocate?
Absolutely.
So I don't want to ruffle any feathers here, but
well, I cut my feathers off.
But wouldn't that be your moral obligation to communicate that with her before you put the ring on or bought the ring? Like, yo,
nah,
this is like, what's your timeline of these big three before I buy this ring? Like in your head that you're going to buy the ring, but it would set up the question just so you had a basic understanding of what timeline she expects versus your timeline. Does it match?
So ready? This is a sports podcast, right?
This is a fucking sports podcast. This is a podcast now.
So let's roll it this way, right? I'm gonna have fun with this. The guys in the shop fucking die when I say this. So it's like, you meet a girl, what are you doing? You're like the scout. Oh shit, that wide receiver's pretty good. Let's go talk to him. It's like, you know what? I want to draft you. All right, cool. And you know what? We're gonna put you in training camp. And you know what? Today you passed training camp. I'm ready to sign you. But just because I sign you, now you're on the practice squad. So before you even step to play this game, there's so many stages. So I look at it sometimes. It's a little off the wall, but it's like when you're picking your woman in life, it's like picking your fucking football player for your franchise. It's like, we got to find a franchise quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that. Yeah.
Life is the coach. Somebody's a quarterback. Somebody's a running.
She's got to be the cornerstone of the team too.
Well, it's got to also be, in my opinion, someone that also counterbalances you. Like my girl balances me. She is so fucking level-headed, and I'm so like, I think in symphonies. Like, I think 5 different things at one time. She thinks I'm crazy until I pull all 5 together, and she's like, "Oh, okay."
My girl does the same thing. Like, I'm all over the fucking place, and then once I bring it all together, she's like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
See, my girl helps me.
Yeah.
Put that together.
Me too.
Instead of like somebody, going, "Jay, what the fuck are you trying to say?" She's looking at me like, "Okay, what is he saying?" But then that's part of our communication. We've actually grown past certain barriers, like, to where I grew to fall in love with this girl. And that's why I made my choice to get engaged to her. We had went through struggle.
Good. Yeah. You need to. I think every relationship has to go through a struggle at some point.
Yeah, but when you asked her couple seconds ago, you were like, do you need to establish that type of communication before you put the ring on it? I also look at it as, you can't take all the potential problems you're going to have with somebody and have that conversation before the ring. Like, sometimes it's just, these problems are just going to come. I was in an 11-year relationship where there was no ring. It was just me. I'm just loyal to you, because this is the one thing I do have with weddings. You hear people talking about, oh, I left this person because they cheated, or they don't do this, or they don't do that. And it's just like, then maybe you didn't want to be married. Maybe you didn't know that. Maybe you just believed that you wanted this fantasy of everybody paying attention to you for one day, because sometimes you don't need the ring to see that. You don't need the party to see that. You just spend enough time with somebody. It's like, well, when the responsibility kicks in, and I like to get deep with people on this, when you're having fun with your girl, the smiles are all there, right? Everybody's smiling. Everybody's like, oh my God, I love you. The sex is great. Oh my God.
Life's good.
Life's good. And then some shit happens to you or her or surrounding aspects. And it's like, oh shit, like this is crumbling. Where does the relationship stand? Some people crumble and they let everything else fall. That's not part of the fucking commitment.
That's because they don't have a foundation. Every building is going to fall if you don't have a strong foundation. If you don't build your relationship on core values that both of you both believe,
but not just that, like people,
you're gonna crumble.
You can, yeah, you will on that regard. But I think the hardest part is like, it's like, are you battle tested? Like, I think there's a lot of people out there that have only assumed what the role of marriage is and all that, like, because it's just like this fairy tale fucking thing. And I'm like, I've never met one man in my life. Anybody listening, I have never met one fucking man in my life that was like, oh my God, being married is fucking awesome. They all say it's fucking hard. There's no like, oh my God, dude, there's fucking butterflies and fucking rainbows everywhere. And my girl blows me every fucking night. And this is great. And oh my God, we eat
wow,
steak.
Looking at unicorns going across the yard.
Yeah. It's not, I woke up, I'm tired. Like, yo, the alarm went off. Yo, we got to get up. It's like, oh, I'm tired. I'm like, come on, get up. Like, come on, get out of bed. It's like, we got to get this day going. It's like, this is life. And it's not this fucking fantasy. It's like, life is hard. And I actually look at it from like my parents' perspective and her parents' perspective. Both of our parents had crazy examples to follow through.
Oh yeah. I can name a bunch that my parents has went through and it could have made or break, but you know,
they're still here.
Still here after 25 years, man.
Because back then, and we talked about this, it's like society has so many ways to run away now. And I talk to people about this. Like when I'm sitting in a barber chair and I'm talking to somebody, you say some shit to me that is making me uncomfortable. Like, I can't run away. Yo, Nick, stop talking. Like, I don't want to talk about this no more. Nah, like, no, we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
The uncomfortable stuff has to come for us to understand like what the outcome of whatever we're speaking on is.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that it comes down to just, like I said, knowing what you want. Like, what kind of relationship do you want? Do you want someone that's just there to help you financially? Do you want someone that's going to help you build the dream you have and maybe partner with you? Is it, hey, I need a place to stay and I can't afford this. Like, you just pay the bills with me. It's like, okay, like you got relationships, situationships. There's so many things in between that it can be. And it's like, not every single one of those end goal for that relationship is marriage. Like, everybody thinks just because you're in a relationship, like, oh, we got to get married. It's like, well, if that's a standard you're putting to it, like I wouldn't put such a strong, you know, status on something that isn't even really understood.
Yeah. Like nobody dates somebody and it's like, oh yeah, like this is something that I'm enjoying right now. Nobody says that. I think everybody, when they get into a relationship, they have to kind of think of long term.
Well, women do. I'm coming out straight and saying it. I don't care how much heat I get for it. The women are living in Fantasy Island half the time. And it's like, you marry the ones that aren't living on Fantasy Island. And that's kind of where I was at, like with any chick I've ever talked to or that brought the topic to me. It's like, are you looking for me to fund your fantasy? Because you can get another sucker to do that.
Yeah.
You can get another sucker to pay 50 G's for you to have your day. And then the day you have your day, it's like, well, what were you looking forward to after that? Oh, that was it. Good. Now I'm on the fucking back burner now.
Now she owns half your shit.
Yeah. And now you got to create a new goal inside. Like me and my fiance, we have multiple goals and we've been hitting them every fucking.
That's good.
That's all we do. Like we're goal planners.
But that's a good relationship because you guys communicate. You guys have structure. You guys have all those things that make a relationship work. And I think that's a really good thing.
It's tough, man.
It's very tough. It's being in a relationship and a committed relationship is very difficult because there's some things about me that she doesn't like, and there's some things about her I might not agree or like. So there is a lot of differences and similarities, but that's what makes you guys great together because you guys communicate what you guys don't like versus what you like. And then that kind of breaks down. Okay. Like, we can do this. Like I had a bad day at work. I came home. You made my day better. Like that changed my world.
I just think that the one thing that I think people take a little too over the top sometimes is, what somebody's doing for them in a relationship. Like I was talking to a couple of my homies and they were like, oh man, I love this girl. She blows me every day. I'm like, what else? That's cool. But like, what else?
Yeah.
And then he's like, he starts going back and forth. I'm like, call a hooker, bro. Like what are you investing in just a blowjob for? Like I've talked to a lot of women over the years, and I'm like, do you respect me as a man? And they were like, yeah, we do. And I'm like, well, I appreciate that. I said, so why don't you actually ask me, somebody in that stature, what kind of like woman, we're looking for? Because I think most dudes that are like me are looking for a certain type of woman. I laugh sometimes when I hear these women getting all dolled up and fake tits and getting themselves looking super, super perfect. I'm like, yeah, dudes that you're looking for, those successful types, they're there to fuck you and chuck you.
Mhm.
It's like, so you're actually chasing a ridiculous goal, just trying to look the best you can. Like I've seen some of the shittiest women out there that look the greatest. It's like the devil in a red dress,
Yeah.
You're so drawn to it. And then when you get there, it's just shit. And a lot of these women, they've came to me like over the years, like, I can't find a good dude. And oh, you talk to all these guys. And I'll tell them, like, well, what's your social media look like? If you're selling sex, that's all they're gonna fucking want. So how would they expect to know that you're wifey material? You don't present it that way.
No, you got your ass showing. You do the most to get the attention.
But that's
so why would I wife you?
But that's the thing. Like I see plenty of women today, like that's their grand to be. And I got some friends that are gonna hear this and be like, "Oh fuck, he's talking about me." Goddamn right, I'm talking about you. Like damn right. Like just to a big degree, it's like I love all the women in my life. You know what I mean? Like they've been such a positive like influence on me, like to understand both sides of everything to life. There's men and women here, so it's like men are going to think one way and women are going to think another way. It's like to even make a successful marriage, you need to understand both playing fields. Like I remember my ex-girlfriend used to get mad when I would talk to other women about trying to understand our relationship, and I'm like, I need to talk to another woman to understand if she understands what you're saying, so that I can now go back to this and fix the situation. For me, it's like I want to know both sides. I don't want to be selfish, because if I'm going to be selfish, the relationship will be over.
Yeah, you would just be single and be by yourself.
Yeah.
Marcos had a question for us, and this kind of ties into the question that I had for you as well. He says, what do y'all think about the culture pushing people into conflict? And then my question again was the same that I wanted to ask. Was
elaborate that.
Well, I think what he means is society slowly stealing the definition away?
Absolutely, dude.
I agree with you.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. And here's an example that I had, and it's just the most recent one. The guy Adam 22. I don't know if you're hip to that stuff. He's like a porn star. He just got married to his wife, and him and his wife agreed to go sleep with somebody else who's also a porn star. So, and she's on camera, and he's totally cool with it.
I think I saw that.
They just got married, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, yeah, so society is slowly decreasing marriage, and it's infiltrating into social media. And I say that because you think 9 and 10-year-olds don't look at this shit. They're not stupid. They go on, they watch the videos, they read the content that's out there. Like I'm talking about 9 and 10-year-olds. Like, yes, they have iPhones. They do. It's just that's 2023. Kids at 9 and 10 years old have iPhones and have access to this kind of information that can kind of trigger and kind of infiltrate their brain to thinking corrupting the younger generation to these ideas that it's okay for my wife to go sleep with somebody else right after we just got married. Like, what the fuck is that?
So
like that bothered me, bro, because then now it's like, all right, now you're stealing the definition of marriage away, and now you're infiltrating that to other kids and the younger generation. Like, not for nothing, but I know these kids are watching these videos. If they really want to delete their history because their mom and dad is going to watch it, they can Google it, how to delete the history. Okay. They could do that. These kids aren't dumb. They are very smart. So I think a lot of society today is just so fucked up, and just people's unique ways of grabbing attention, and when it's just not the moral obligation of a marriage, and they're just putting their own twist on it. And I think that it's really bothering me.
But let's run it this way, right? I have what I believe to be my idea of a marriage that would be successful. I have my idea. Everybody has their own idea. I never fault anybody for changing something that has been the same way for so long, and you see the results and it can't be ran the same way. Like, I look at it this way. Look at schooling, right? We have been in the same schooling structure since I think 1912. Like, we've been using the same classroom generated like simulation to teach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't learn that way. I learned by physically touching something, taking it apart, doing this. So I failed in what the society has projected for me to do.
I got you.
I can't judge anybody on how they want to structure a marriage. Some people want to structure it logically. Some people want to structure it financially. Some people want to structure it based upon emotions. I think everybody has their own standard for how they would get married. But, you know, when it comes down to it, like I said, marriage to me is the first day of the rest of your life with somebody. So to me, it's like, you kind of got to know what you want. And I said that earlier, and I think too many people just want to know they had one, like the Lamborghini effect. I rented a Lamborghini one time, and my buddy was like, "Yo, you bougie as hell. You rented a Lamborghini for the day?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, "Why the fuck would you do that?" I said, "Well, hold up. Do you think I would be dumb enough to save up and earn enough money to afford it just to have the responsibility of it?" It's like, fuck no. I'm gonna rent it for the day, drive the shit out of it, have no obligation to it afterwards, give it back to the fucking guy, and now I'm not paying insurance on it, maintenance. It's like, yeah, I rented my enjoyment for the day. And I think there's a lot of people renting their temporary happiness with marriage for the day. And it's like, you don't need to buy that day, because when you buy that, you're buying the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because that's the commitment.
Yeah.
You know, till death do us part. It's like, no, until one of us gets sick and tired of this shit, because either one person's not doing this, or this person fell off, or this person's elevating too fast, or this person's not elevating far enough. Like, you know, you kind of got to go through life, in my mind, objectively, to kind of even understand the emotions of the things you're doing. You know, like if you get to a point where it's like, I married my girl, and the reason I married her was because I wanted to start a family with her. It's like, all right, well, if that's the objective, then how can we get this done objectively so that we complete our goals and we can continue to do this thing that we are purposed for?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, if we want to have one kid, we need to make this much. If we want 2 kids, make this much. It's like, okay, we start with what it's going to take financially to have that. After that, it's like, okay, it's like I say it all the time. If you can count your problems, you can count your profits. So it's like, all right, what are the problems that come up when you do certain things? It's like, oh, well, this is the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem. And it's like, some people aren't even really digesting it. They're just taking it head on. And it's like, we're at a point right now in society where you can be smart and not make a decision that everybody else is fucking making, because they're just doing it because, I'm not putting people heavy on this, but because they want to fucking do it. They want to be like, look at me. We got married. We have money. We did this. We did that. And I'm like, dude, how much more do you want me to suck your dick?
Because
Like,
it makes
you know
them,
what I'm saying?
but it also makes them feel like they're ahead in life, though. Like when
Nobody's ahead of nobody.
but
Nobody's ahead of nobody.
that's like the perspective that they have in their mind. It's like, oh, I got married, I got a house, I did all that things, I did all the grown up shit. Like I'm accomplished. It's like a social status accomplishment.
And you know what's great? They get their fucking ass back to work fucking Monday morning at 9 o'clock, just like me. Nothing changed.
No,
nothing fucking changed. It was just, hey, like, and this is where I say all the guys at the shop, like, even like a month later, not even a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like months later, they're like, oh my God, dude, I fucking could have paid the credit card off. I could have got myself ahead, but we did this because we did this. And it's like, oh, fuck. And now they're dealing with something that they did previously that now is going to affect everything. Like, I spent my whole life understanding logic. And to me, anytime I've ever had an emotional problem, logic beat it. It did. It beat it 100% of the time. So my big thing is, and I'm going to go back, what is a wedding, or what is marriage to me? Marriage to me is literally just being aware of what you're about to do, not knowing potentially what it is, but being aware that, like, yo, do you know this is a real problem? No. Well, get ready to believe it, because we're probably going to go through it. Like, I don't know anybody, and I don't know if you know anybody that just goes, fuck yeah, let's get married. And let's just have our sunshine and rainbows, and let's just make everything all okay for this one period of time. It's like, that could destroy the longevity of your relationship.
Yeah.
If you pay too much for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the courthouse thing. You were talking about the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had plenty of talks, you know, with people in my life about courthouse weddings. And I'm like, well, that's the wedding. That's exactly what you want, correct? You want to be binded with me for life. Well, we can go sign them papers right now
and be done with it. Wrap it up and put it in the bow.
Yeah. Why do you not want to do that? We could throw a party in a couple years after we've succeeded. We've made some money. We've built these things. Like, I could be married to somebody and build as they build with me. So I'll be honest, this is a little deep, but a hard thing for me, like why I left my ex-girlfriend of 11 years was because I saw that it wasn't going to work. The two efforts didn't match. The goal was the same. You know, I believe a lot of people have like a similar goal. Like we wanted a family, we wanted to do this. And it's like, okay, I'm willing to work this hard for it. And to this day, that's not even my goal with that person, but my ass is still fucking working for it
Mhm.
because I know what I want. You know, I look at it as someone else can't like objectify how you're going to be doing things. And I think that's what actually destroys the relationship, not knowing where you're going and then trying to project other people to say that this is where we need to be. It's like, no, you're where exactly you need to be. And where you will be is where you're supposed to be. Whatever you do is what you do. And whatever your fucking choice based upon your chances are is going to be your result. And I think most people destroy a lot of the things, even that they create on a small level, even though they need that progress, because their expectation of everything is off. You know, we've talked about expectation plenty of times.
Yeah.
You know, how many times, and if you want to say this, like marriage, what's your expectation? The same thing I said about the big three. What's your expectation? I'll give you a child, I'll give you a home, and I'll give you a marriage.
That's a timeline.
Yeah. Are you okay with it being in 5 years? Are you okay with it being in 2 years? Because I think as men, when we're trying to provide and we're trying to understand the structure that we're going to build for our lives, it's like, okay, look, I make this much. My bills are this much. My time that I have left after all that is this much. It's like, okay, does the math problem work out to where, oh, I'm just going to do this. I'm feeling great today. It's like, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. Is it going to work not just today? Is it going to work tomorrow? Is it going to work in 5 years? Is it going to work in 10? I think so far ahead because for me, monetary enjoyment is always there.
Mhm.
Like, yo, if you and me right now, we want to shut this podcast down, you, me, and Phil go out and go get a drink. Guess what? There's a place to do it.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be a place to do it. So for me, I feel like there's a lot of people that get married and still feel like entertainment is the goal. And it's like, well, did you get married just to entertain each other? That just sounds fucking retarded.
It does sound
That
stupid.
sounds stupid. Like you spent all this money to invest in entertainment that literally is provided for us every day in every corner of our fucking world. Netflix, Wawa, Target, the mall. Shit, you want to go to the shore, you want to hit the boardwalk, you want to go to an arcade, you want to go to hit the beach, you want to travel, you want something. Can we all agree? You can go get it whenever you want.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get a future whenever the fuck you want. I don't think you can get longevity the way you want. I think that's something you really have to like chop it with somebody and be like, yo, what do you want? You want to be my partner for life? Do you understand what that entails?
See, I actually I agree with what you're saying. I think the hardest part for me, and the only thing I disagree with, is finding that lifelong partner is so fucking hard that when you actually feel like you have found the one, you're going to commit because of all your past experiences.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Phil, I'll ask you the same question. I guess anybody that's listening right now, I'll ask y'all the question too. You know, are you putting yourself out there at the best position for you to be the person that you are portraying? And when I say it like this, it's like when I go out and I go do shit, I'm stoned, but guess what? I'm not changing my perception and getting drunk and portraying a person that, you know, I'm gonna say this about single dudes, you know, they're out getting drunk and they're presenting a person that's not really who that person is on Monday.
And the inside, like on the outside, they're the party animal, they're fun, they're this, but when they go home and they're sitting on their couch, do they have that same energy? I don't believe so. I believe a lot of them people are deep down depressed.
Well, I'll count it by how many drinks you had that night. Straight up. How many drinks did you have before you started to feel drunk? Because I knew I had a lot of problems in my life in my 20s. I can say I was scared because I didn't know where life was going for me. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was becoming. And a lot of times I medicated with alcohol and entertainment and all these different things. And as I got older, I was kind of like, why am I'm not getting what I need. I'm unfulfilled. I'm drunk. I'm broke. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Because I feel great.
But you're missing something.
Yeah. And it was just the misconception that I think people need to feel great about what they're doing. Like every day of my life has not been great. I make it great. I have to make it great. Everybody's like, oh, I woke up, I felt like shit today. All right, change it. You can. People believe they can't. And it's like, that's how marriage is to me. You wake up that day and it's like, I don't feel right. You know, I don't know what to do. It's like, you got to bring your partner up. Now, I do believe that there are certain pinnacles that I have reached in a previous relationship where I was like, I can't do nothing else for you. Like, you have to do something for yourself at this point. Unfortunately, that was like the ending to an 11-year relationship.
Yeah.
You know, like to get to a point, and this is where I say marriage is also very technically difficult because there are people out there that give up when shit gets too hard. I never had that option in my life with the bone disorder. You know, I never had an option to give up. I have to keep going. I never wanted to be a handicap to anybody, not even my wife, you know, whoever, you know, that was going to be when I was thinking about these things at the time. And it's like, I'm here to make sure your life is better. And I'm picking you because I believe you're going to make my life better.
And
And
it's a
I'm
balance act.
Yeah, and I'm ready to take that on. And I feel like when you propose to somebody, that's the only thing you really need to know. Are you legit ready to get down with this person? It's like, yo, that's my fucking person.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get busy with this person and just make it fucking happen. And you know, this one girl was telling me she had a hard time finding a dude. She said she'd been on all these dates and shit. She's like, all these guys just, you know, they keep telling me they're gonna be something. And I said, so why is that a problem? She's like, oh, they're all thinking up here. I said, you know how amazing that is? It's your fault that you see it, that they're not there yet for you to even consider that they have that potential. Maybe they need you
To help them get to
click
that point.
part.
Yeah.
And that's like
It's a great point. That's actually like an excellent point.
Yeah, there's an ignorance to a lot of people
Yeah.
out there. It's like being naive. It's like, how selfish are you to need something to where it's like that person would give you everything they have as long as you understand the purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Like when this girl told me that she heard all these people, all these guys she dates, like wanting to be somebody, I'm like, why do you have a problem with that? Like, I'm very confused.
She could have been the person to help that person propel
Yeah.
to that
Held 'em
point.
forth, yeah.
Yeah. No,
It's-
I
it's-
get that. And I never thought about it like that. That's a really, really deep perspective. I've never ever looked at that way.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, Jay.
Dude, I talk to not just men. I talk to a lot of women. Like I've had a lot of women friends over the years that have helped me through a lot of struggles in my life.
Mm.
You know, they were very platonic relationships too. Like, you know, I always like to tell people, it's like, sometimes you could just be friends with a chick. It doesn't matter if you want to sleep with them or not. Like you
Yeah.
can just hold it to a boundary as friends and really get to see a different perspective that as men, we don't live. We don't live in a woman's head, but instead we could pick a woman's brain and be like, yo, why is it that this is the way it is in your head? And whether it's the answer to your question or not, it's just to get the perspective that they have. They live it their way. We live it our way. I've been around so many men that I get to points where I'm like, yeah, we're all pretty much the same. If somebody's got a couple extra bucks, he has a nicer car or a nicer house, but all dudes are the fucking same.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I've got to the point where all the women I've talked to, for the most part, they're all the same. It's just their expectation of what it is they believe they should have. I know most men, they don't have an expectation of what they think they deserve. I know dudes that'll work their fucking ass will be like, nah, I still don't deserve this. I'm not there yet. And it's like, that's a raw ass dude. He's
Yeah.
still ready to go and get down for what he's trying to get. Some women I've talked to, I'm not even gonna say some, a lot of them, dude, they're so up their own fucking ass, dude, about what they believe they have. And it's like, or what they should have. And I'm like, why? What possesses you to believe you are this amazing to just have these things? And again, that's a person I would never marry. I would marry somebody that knows the validity to how much work it fucking takes to get
to
through
that point.
Yeah, just anything, man. You having a bad day, like your fucking dog dies, like something that'll rattle your fucking head. And it's kind of like, yo, does your partner got you? That's how you know.
I'm happy that you're saying this because that's literally what I go through. Like, right? Like I have bad days, but my partner picks me up and she's there for me. And
Hell
she
yeah.
supports me through my bad days just as much as she does in my good days.
That's a rider.
And she's a ride or die. And that's what made me decide that this was the one.
Can I ask you a question?
And I've yeah, sure.
Real quick, Phil, I'm going to ask you a question too. I'm going to go a little off topic, but
Powwow.
it's gonna make sense, right? For all the guys out there, I got a little bit of a tip. I got a big tip.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
What are we talking about here?
So here's the best one, and I say this is one of the main reasons why I picked Mary to be my fiance and my wife to rock out in the future. No matter what was going on in her life, she was happy. and appreciative. That was one thing that I think no matter what girl you have in your life, if she cannot appreciate the circumstances of life before she makes that kind of a commitment, it's like, whoa, hold up. Like, you got to know. It's like, yo, when life hits you hard, how did you come out of it? Did you run away? I've never seen my girl run away from shit ever.
Yo.
She takes that shit head fucking on as she sees me do the same. And it's like, yo, that's my fucking girl.
Yo,
Like, she don't take no shit.
Yo, Alyssa's the same way, believe it or not. Yeah, man. She takes things
like,
head on.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
I love that.
Like, yeah, like if there's a challenge in front of her, she will figure it out and she won't like, she'll dissect it. She'll, get my blessing or ask me anything. She figures out a way. She never gives up. And that's a similar trait that I have. So that's why we get along so well. So I get it, man. I totally understand it, dude. That's a fucking great point.
But men need to know that.
They do.
Men need to know also the choice they're making as well. I know some dudes that have prematurely made a choice to be with a woman and are like, oh yeah, we're fucking and we're doing this. And it's like, why are you dragging it? Like, that's not a relationship. Cause if you're just playing around, wasting time, it's like, I got too many of my friends that I've talked to in the past, and we all have our ways of scheming and the ways we used to talk to women and meet women or whatever it is we were doing.
Our game.
Yeah.
Whatever.
My biggest thing is, and I say this a lot, there's a reason not that many women hate me, because I was very, very straightforward with what I wanted. I never played a game with women. I have a little sister, man. I don't want no one fucking manipulate my little sister's mind, so I'm not going to manipulate a woman's mind. If this is what I want, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, I just want to smash. All right, cool. You don't want to? All right, I'll ask the next. It's like, yo, I want to get married, or I want this, or I want that. Like, whatever it is, like,
you're very transparent to them up front. You're very upfront with them.
Because if you're transparent, right, then it's up to them to return that. And if they don't, you already know where you're sitting. It's like, all right, cool. This person isn't actually going to reciprocate the same way I am. I can step away from this before I spend too much time on it. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think we got to be very aware as people, men and women, of what exactly it is that we're doing. And I keep going back to, what are we doing? It's like, are we fucking watching Netflix and just chilling? It's like, okay, that's cool. That doesn't need that actually doesn't even need a title to it. That could just be, look, maybe we just
we're fucking.
Yeah,
we're fucking. That's it. That's it.
That's communication.
Yeah, that's communication. There you go. See, it ties back together. That word communication ties back together.
Yeah.
It does. That is the biggest aspect in all relationship is communication. In my opinion, it is. It's being transparent. Whatever I am feeling, I am telling you. However you receive it is something I'm going to notice.
So you ready for this?
If you receive, my transparency to be, disrespectful or off track or whatever, that's how you saw it. I didn't see it that way. I was communicating to you because I'm letting you know, because I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
So if you want to call me a scumbag, well, okay, whatever. It is what it is. I don't give a. I've been called worse.
But ready,
I'll say that.
But ready, like you said, we can call it whatever it could be. But at the end of the day, everybody has an intention and expectation of being with somebody and spending time with somebody. At the end of the day, it's just, what is your expectation and what is the reality of the expectation that you have? So for me, it's like, I look at my girl now and it's like, okay, what are we doing? And we have our goals, and it's like every day, even though we may struggle sometimes to see that light at the end of the tunnel, it's like, no, we got another fucking step closer. And in this time that we've been together this last 4 years, we've shown each other that patience is how we actually got to grow our love. It wasn't like googly eyed, like, oh my God, I fucking love you. You're so hot. Like, let's just show off. It's like,
looks fade away, by the way.
Oh my God.
They fade away. I just look at your old yearbooks and look now.
Oh my God.
Seriously, let's talk about that. I mean, like, yeah, looks fade away. It's to me, like, when you get older and you start to develop, your personality, and you start to really hone in on who you are as a person, you look for that in your partner. That is everything to me. Like, we got to have the same traits. If we don't have the same traits, we're not going to work.
To some degree,
I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Like, opposites attract, and there is something there. But for me, like, I'm talking about traits in terms of giving up and like communicating, like all the important fucking things.
Yeah.
If you don't have any of that stuff, then we're not going to be seeing eye to eye. And if we don't see eye to eye now, how are we going to see eye to eye in 20 years?
Well, and that's the truth, man. Because
You know what I mean? Like, how are we supposed to be on the same page 10 years from now, 20 years from now, if we can't get on the same page right now?
well, that's effort.
That's effort.
That's 100% effort. Because okay, so this, remember when I said the whole transparency thing, like, commenting on that, that's how you know if you could even choose to continue with somebody, like being able to say, yo, look, I'm fucked up right now, or yo, I'm in this position right now. It's like, do you accept that? Sometimes you really need to say certain things and put your ego down. And it's like, I watch new couples, right? They're always like, oh my God, we had some drinks, we're having fun. Yeah, it's fucking great. It's like, okay, that's a good start. Great start.
Mm-hmm.
Where are y'all going now? Because the one thing I've realized, and I've had this experience in my own life as well, everything's great when there's no responsibility. Everything's fucking great. You go clubbing, you go to the movies, there's no responsibility towards actually being with that person. It's just, as they say, enjoying time. Like, I know a bunch of women like, I just want to spend time. Like time. I need time with somebody. It's like, I'll be honest, I've accomplished almost some of the most interesting things in my life with almost any realm of person in a short amount of time if you're keeping it straight. What you need a lot of time for? Like, why do you need a lot of time with somebody? It's like, no, break them fucking barriers open. People can't put their ego down long enough to even know that person could or could not be for them. Like, some people just want to stay around just because like it's a good feeling. And it's like, shit, man, I told you, like feelings, you said it too. Feelings fade. It's like, I'm not here for feelings, because there's going to be a day that I'm feeling great. You're feeling bad. I got to give you some.
Yeah.
There's going to be a day that I feel like shit and you feel great. You got to give me some. It's like, I need to fuel off of you. You need to fuel off of me. We got to be able to rely on each other. And I think that's, again, going back to the first thing we said about this. And it's like, what's marriage? To me, it's longevity and commitment, dude. And I think people do not understand when they say commit, it's like commit. And I tell people, you want to talk about commitment. It's like, yo, go talk to an entrepreneur, a successful one.
Yeah.
Talk to a successful entrepreneur about quitting. They can't. They cannot.
No, that's their business is everything that they earn.
That's it.
Yeah.
They got to work from the ground fucking up. At least I had to. I wasn't given like a big fund to go work. It's like, yo, $5, man. You need a cut, cuz? It's like, all right, cool. Now we have 40. It's like, I was like a growing stock, and here's something I noticed. A
growing stock. You hear that? Jay said he was a growing stock.
Yeah.
I'd never heard a man say that before. And I actually really fuck with that really heavy. You're a growing stock. And my fiance is home. So yeah, it's great. What's up, Liz?
What's up, girl?
Yeah, wow. It's funny because like men in their like late 30s or early 30s, they start to peak. We're actually rising stocks, bro.
Yeah.
So like when you say that, man, I'm like, yo, that's actually real shit.
Yo, let me break it down.
That's so fucking true, dog.
Ready, Phil? I'm gonna break this one down real quick. When I was 17, right, and I was just cutting hair for $5 a piece, it's like, if someone were to ask me, it's like, yo, you ever see yourself like clearing 6 figures and living the way you want and having all this? It's kind of like, I've been cutting hair 18 years. Like, I can't see 18 years into the future, but it's like, yo, would you invest in me? So would you invest in my $5 that I could one day get you 40 for the same unit?
Yeah.
And it's like, when you grow, I guess
you'll 8x your money if you invest in me.
Yeah, like I started looking at it. My life started producing fucking dividends. Like my life produced dividends just by how I move. But you could see that it's like, all right, if he continues to do what he's supposed to do, then the only place that person is going is up.
Yeah,
that's it. Okay, that person doesn't drink alcohol. That's going to cut a lot of problems out. That person doesn't do this. They don't speed. They don't fucking have a porn problem. They don't fucking go spend their money in a club. They don't do this. It's like, okay, if it stays this way, that's going to rise. That stock from $5 is going to go higher. And this is also where
because you were consistent in that journey. You were still the same person as you were when you started.
Yeah.
You just got better. You just got better. You were consistent day in and day out. You practice what you preached. You practice everything, your skills, everything. Like you've honed in on your craft. And then that craft went from $5 to $40.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So what is that? That's a 800%.
Yeah.
So 800% of my life has turned that way. And unfortunately, that's what makes it hard for me too. Like speaking about marriage, because I see that there is like let's get on a little bit of a tougher topic about this, right? Marriage at the end of the day, we talked about the love and the commitment
Yeah.
and all that
Yeah.
shit. But let's really dive into the hard part. And I think this is where a lot of people go and have their struggles. It's the finance, right? It all comes down to finance at the end of the day, because they say money isn't everything. But I said this to my boy one day, and I thought he was going to punch me in my fucking mouth. Not because it was wrong of what I said, but how deep it hurt him. And I was like, cuz you only make enough to buy a 6-pack on the weekends. Your experiences are very limited because you ain't even got enough money to expand on what you're trying to live.
Mm.
You don't have the money to fucking go here to experience this, to open your mind up. So that's all you got. And you want a family? You want to provide for a woman? It's like, no, you're fucking retarded.
You're not there yet.
No. And everybody believes that, like, oh, I'm here now. It's like, no, I believed I was somebody at 22. I'm 33, about to be 34. That 22-year-old version of me was a fucking clown.
I don't recognize who I was at 22. I'll be honest with you. It's funny that you say that. We're totally different people.
Yeah,
Just our mindset, I think, based on our past experiences, have led us to this point.
absolutely.
So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Isn't it
It's funny.
supposed to, though?
Yes.
Like it's
It has
supposed
to
to be
be.
that way.
Yeah.
Like the man who thinks the same way at 30 as he did at 21 has wasted 9 years of
9
his
years.
life.
Yep. Totally agree with that. That's the realest statement that I've heard right there.
And that's not mine. See, I take no credit for that. I just look at it as I've heard that so many times throughout my career.
You
my
wasted
life.
9 years. If you had the same mindset at 30 than you do at 21, that is fucking real as hell.
Yo, you ready for
That's so real.
ready for the danger of marriage too? Phil, I'm about to drop something right now. This is what's scary sometimes about when people talk about the commitment of marriage. You got an issue, right? You're not telling your partner, you're harboring the issue, even if it has nothing to do with your partner. You're just harboring something inside,
Yeah.
right? Until you fix what that problem is, you have to start looking at how much time it took you to figure that out. Because by the time you figure it out, what are you now in? A new mindset. If it took you 5 fucking years to figure out that problem, you wasted that new mindset for 5 whole years.
You wasted the evolution of the mindset, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're evolving as a new person. As you get older, you have different experiences. You're wasting that
time
to level up your mental status. I totally agree with that. That's so real.
Like, Reddy, you got it. So let's use
So
an
true.
example. You hate your fucking job. You got to get out of it. And it's like, this is very, very relevant to my life too, like in such a crazy way. I needed to leave something that I knew was hurting me inside. And I knew it, and I was trying to hold on as tight as possible. And I'm like, nah, I don't quit. I have such an arrogance and narcissism about me to not quit, because if somebody else did it, it can be fucking done.
Mm-hmm.
And until I realized that maybe somebody accomplished it with an excessive amount of resources and that it would be a waste of time to accomplish it, nah, man, I'm that fucking arrogant about it. Like, all right, I think I could do that. I think I have enough connections and enough fucking wisdom and knowledge and experience to be able to do that. Some people fucking shoot themselves in the foot trying to believe they can do shit that they can't. And sometimes that's marriage. They're shooting themselves in the foot, taking such a collective fucking...
It's an agreement. It's an agreement between two parties.
Yeah, man.
It is. It's an agreement. It's a contractually agreement.
Yeah. Now, Reddy, we talked about this in the shop a couple of times.
Yeah.
I say this to all the entrepreneurs too that are trying to start their business. Only 10% really continue in entrepreneurship. Why? Because it's problems every day. It's very, very hard. But what can you do with a business easily that you can't do in a marriage? I can end my business. If it's really going wrong, I can end it. I could lose it. I could do all these things. I know too many people right now, like Reddy, right now they say that 1 in every 2, relationships end in a divorce. Okay, that's half.
That's a high percentage.
Oh, hold on. But that's half of the people who actually committed to getting the divorce.
Yeah.
Think about how many people are still stuck in a marriage that they're like, dude, I can't divorce this chick. It's cheaper to keep her.
It's cheap. That's the saying. It's cheaper to keep her. Yeah.
And that's the shitty part, because that's not what marriage is supposed to be 20 years down the line.
You're handcuffing yourself in your future just because you made a mistake.
Yep.
But if you made a mistake, just fucking own it and cut it off. And just you're gonna have to. You made that commitment.
But you got 2 kids, a wife, a house. Now you got all these things that you've built Do you just give it away?
No, you have to communicate. You have to say, okay, like we're gonna go battle this out in court. When do I get custody of the kids? How much am I getting back in my house? You know, you got to go through all that. That's the communication aspect that you guys continue to still have, even when the relationship's soured. You have to have that in your back pocket.
But that's the whole point to the marriage, right? On paper, that commitment stands stronger because one or the other could lose the ambition to continue the marriage. Like I said, I was in a similar situation without a marriage. I watched how somebody could not pick themselves up off the ground, no matter how much fucking help they got. And it's like, yo, how much more time are you going to waste of mine not getting your shit together?
Mm-hmm.
So you get to a point and it's kind of like, what if we were married? What if I did everything that everybody told me to do 5-6 years prior? I was like, you should have married that girl, or you guys should be married, or you guys should have your kids already. It's like, you know what? Let's break that down now. Because I talked to my accountant.
Yeah, you be depressed. You
ready for this? You know what my accountant said? I have no problem saying this either, too, because I've gotten to a point where this is the reality sometimes that men have to face that are progressive when it comes to marriage. If I was married to my ex at the time.
I think I know where it's going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know where it is.
I think I do. Go ahead.
Yeah. You know what I would have owed her? 90 grand between the 5 properties I had at the time, my house, the equity in there, and the money that I had saved in my fucking, my portfolios. She was technically, if we were married, if we didn't sign a prenup, entitled to half of that. I didn't even have 90 grand at the time liquid.
Wow.
So I would have had to lose everything I was building just to pay her if we were married.
Just to get it out of your hair.
I thought you were going in a different direction. Actually,
what did you think we were going?
I'm curious.
Where you at,
Phil? Yeah, where's your?
No. I'm sorry. It was. I thought you were going to say that men are going to start becoming suicidal. Which
I know that. I know a couple of dudes.
No, I thought that's where you said you were going to go. But
no, but I've seen that before. Where, I mean, I do have one person, unfortunately, that did commit suicide over.
That's so.
I didn't want to turn something dark. I just thought
we don't
where
have
you were going.
But that's the truth too. It goes back to that, man. There is a dark side to this because when everybody talks about marriage, it's like, yay. And it's kind of like, all right, this dude was just married for 20 years. He's got his kids with this woman, and he believes this woman is his dream. And because she's at home with the kids, fucking off on social media, getting some attention from this dude who is breaking his fucking ass every day at his fucking union job just to put fucking food on the table and a future for his kids and his wife, getting cheated on. And then she walks out the door, takes half, takes the kids, and this cat's sitting there like, what the fuck just happened?
That happens a lot, man. And that's a common thing. You're right.
A lot of fucking times this shit happened. Being in a barbershop, I saw nothing but men that had their life together, rolling, and their girl just wasn't there either to match what they were building or eat off of what he was building. And the next thing you know, it's like, well, shit, he gave me a piece of his steak every time we had a dinner. You know what? I'm taking his fridge on the way out with the rest of his steak.
But you got to
now he's going to leave him hungry.
But you got to understand, too, is that women are emotional.
Very.
And I'm an emotional person, too. And don't get me wrong. Like, but I'm not saying all women are, but most women are emotional. So if you don't have the emotional support at home and you're constantly working, you put food on the table and shit like that. But if you're not emotionally there for me, that's what leads to the cheating and shit, because now they have a lack of attention, right? And that's everything. That's why they're on social media posting their fucking ass on stories and shit in their posts, because they're looking for attention. That's what they're doing. They're not emotionally stable because their partner is not giving them that attention and that and those emotions. And I actually believe in that. And that's why a lot of people.
That's true, but it's not an excuse.
No, I'm not saying that's an excuse to cheat on anybody. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in cheating on anybody. What I believe in is the emotional toll it takes as time builds. Eventually curiosity kicks in because you're like, all right, I'm not getting love the same way that I was loved when we first met. So now I got to look a little bit, deeper. Like, all right, like this guy's giving me attention. Maybe, and I kind of like that. I miss that feeling of like, wow, I'm wanted. Somebody loves me. Somebody's like appreciating me, looks at me in a sexy way, and that's what I like. You know what I mean?
That's where the communication comes in. You're supposed to talk to your
correct. So if something's bothering you, speak the fuck up, and that's so right, Phil.
Ready? I cheated. I was a cheater. I could keep it 100%, dude. I could.
Let the record skip.
I was not ready for that one. Just put me on blast. But all right, I'm gonna bust this down because you know what? It was like some of the worst times. Like when I think back on my life, like that I did that. But let's go back to what you were saying real quick, because I find it to be all relative, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always believe that, when you're with somebody, you don't cheat. But like you said, you start to lose. Like, here's my thing. And I'm like arrogant and cocky about this. I love my girl so much that I want her to tell me I'm loving her too much, just so I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And in my last relationship, I was like that. I would do anything I could to let her know that, like, yo, I'm still here. Like, I'm still like in this mode. And when you actually are putting that kind of effort out there, I remember the first few times I went out in that mindset where I'm like, man, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? I think I'm doing something wrong because I'm not getting what I think I'm supposed to be getting out of the relationship.
Mm.
And I'm like, wait a minute, I bust my ass. I got the crib finally. I got all these things set up to where it's like, yo, we're good. And it's like, yo, why are you miserable?
What are you not appreciating about me when I'm doing all this for you and our future? That's what you're getting? Kind of?
To some degree, yeah, there's an appreciation loss somewhere. And it's like, this was my thing. I was always out building my business. And I was very conscious. Like, there was a lot of women that I had a lot of opportunities with. And I was like, no, I'm genuinely like with my girl. And like, whether or not I was happy or not, I was down to still, do what I said I was going to fucking do. Be in a relationship, provide, make sure that we're going to have shit ready for a family, make sure we got a crib, like make sure we're fucking stable, set that the only thing you fucking need from me now is that stupid fucking ring and that stupid piece of paper that says we're going to be together forever. Because guess what? I looked at it as I was with somebody for 11 years, man. I didn't need a piece of paper to stay fucking faithful. It didn't take me that. What led me down, I guess you want to say, the road of infidelity was I was like, wait a minute, like, I can talk to somebody. I could talk to another female. I don't have to like pursue it, but I could have a female, at least I talk to.
A conversation.
And then next thing I know, I started finding that all the love or whatever that I thought I was getting in the beginning, I'm like, wow, that was very elementary. I was almost looking at it in a sense of like, wow, like I'm not really appreciated like that. Like, I'm actually putting my whole life on the line, like my stress and all this to make sure that this one girl is going to maybe reciprocate the things I need. And then over time, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I got to a point where I got so drunk one night. I was at the club and I ended up hooking up with this chick in the bathroom. And you know what? I was fucking up, man. I did some coke. I was in a bad place. Like, I was just trying to drown out what I wasn't getting at home and maybe try to find it elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if it was fake or not. It didn't matter that I was in the club. It's just I felt the feeling had turned over. And it was like, well, damn, I guess the only thing I could do now is be in this feeling so long before something happens. So I would leave with the thought of, damn, that one chick was into me, or damn, like that doctor was actually, she was on it. And I guess I was very lucky, like that I had great conversation with women because I always knew there was an option, but it's like, nah, I'm going home. This is what I got at home. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I started not becoming okay with it when I didn't see the effort that I watched other people in their life put out. And I'm like, okay, we've been together 7 years. I'm not throwing this all away. I'm going to figure this shit out. So you start communicating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, you're unhappy. What do you need to do to be happy? Well, I don't have this. Well, you need to do this. It's like, I can't do that. Enough time starts going by. It's like, yo, you're not helping your fucking self. And sometimes that's the scary part, because what if we go back to that moment where I said I was married 5 years prior to this girl, and it's like, oh, well, she fell off. She fell off and could have caused me a $90,000 fucking back pay and then destroy both of our fucking futures just because she couldn't pull herself out of a rut. Like, to some degree, like, if your partner can't pull you out of a rut, like, at some point it's not your responsibility anymore. Like, you get to a point where it's like, I've done everything I fucking could to bring you out of this. And you know what? My last final straw was that I cheated.
You can't help others who don't want to be helped. That's the moral of the story.
Well, I think people need to know. They need to know when they need to actually take a step up to the plate. Like, so many people they're watching the game on television. They're not actually playing it, but they're believing that they're like, oh, I'm in the game. It's like, you're not in the fucking game. They're on the fucking field. You're watching the game. You think you know everything that's going on in that field. No, you're in the stands watching. Goes back to the Post Malone concert. There's 100 people making sure this one guy performs correctly for everyone else to enjoy. It's like, all right, well, in a man's mind, at least in my own, because I can only speak from my own perspective, it's like, yo, I'm the one-man army out there fighting the fucking world to make sure I can give it and share it with somebody else. And that's not appreciated. yeah, that'll lead somebody to cheat.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see that. I could see the correlation there between the cheating and that. Yeah.
You ready for something fucked up too? I've never really like said this like publicly, but
Well, you're about to.
at this point, I'm kind of okay with it in my life. Like I needed this part of my life to happen to grow up and to understand certain things. It's like, I'm probably gonna get some heat for this one, but it's like, I think my relationship lasted an extra 4 years because I cheated, because I had actually gotten it out of my head. I was like, wait a minute, holy shit, I took the leap, and now I appreciate my girl 10 times more, and sometimes I think the men that do cheat actually kind of take that risk, like, yo, am I all in on this girl or not? Because sometimes they'll gamble the house on that shit. I did. That was my mindset. I'm going to gamble the house on this one girl to see if my relationship is really worth it. That's an immature mindset. Obviously, I'm older now, I would never do that. Like, but when you're in such a mindset where you don't want to give up your relationship, you're actually willing to bet a little harder on the hand to see if it's going to succeed. And sometimes, you know what? I've been in a casino plenty of times, man. I bet plenty of football games, and there was games I thought I knew I was winning, man. And in the fourth quarter, it was like, yo, they fumbled at the 1. They ran it back. Like, damn, the over hit, the spread pushed, and the game is over.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there like, that happened. It's like, yeah. And you go back, you look at all the mistakes, and I knew I wasn't meant to be married. I still had to have that understanding in my mind. And once I did have it, I had actually confessed to my girl at the time that I had cheated. I was very, very upfront about it.
Were you scared of shit?
Nah.
You had to be scared, bro.
Nah. Why?
I
don't.
Just because I feel like there's like, for a man, is there shame in that for a man? To a degree,
there's a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah, but is that does that involve shame? Are you ashamed of an action like that?
Nah, I wasn't ashamed of the action. I was ashamed more or less that like I had actually used that as a means to think it would correct the problem. That's where there's a shame in it. Like, I think the main part about the whole thing, and I've listened to plenty of men in the barbershop over 18 years tell me why they cheat. And it's like, holy shit, man. It's gonna sound fucked up, but like only a small percent of them are like just dogs. Like, fuck my girl, man. Like, I just want to fuck whoever. It's like that. I hear women talk like, well, what if he's just a dog? It's like, look, reality speaks in. Like, 10% of men are like that. The rest are really trying to figure out, like, yo, can I get through the rest of my life fucking one woman? And I think the thing is, it's like, and I say this, it's kind of fucked up, but it's like a woman's like a car, man. They all just make different noises, require different maintenance, and ride a little different. You got to know which car you're trying to buy, man. Remember, I told you
you're a fucking legend, dude.
Remember I told you about renting a Lamborghini?
Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't want the responsibility of that.
Nah.
And sometimes cheating, that was my Lamborghini for the night.
Yeah, you're cheating on your personal cars for that one little high that you got.
Yeah, man.
So that's a comparison that you're trying to make. And I could see that. That actually really does tie in really well.
Like, objectively, that's kind of sometimes I think how, I'm not going to speak for anybody but myself on this one. I'm only going to speak about myself because I can't speak for everybody on this. Everybody has their own reasons for doing what they do. Like, you'll know what it feels like afterwards to do it. Like, I didn't feel great that I made certain choices in my life. I felt great knowing that now I know I'll never make that choice again. So that's how I see it.
I think, yeah. I think a lot of people, we make a lot of mistakes, but it's really like the person that you are is what changes your future of it. Like, if you learn from your mistakes, you can be the person that you always wanted to be.
Yeah.
But if you don't learn from them, then you're back into the same rut that you've always been in.
I've found myself in ruts before where
Is it self-inflicted? Like, I feel like all of my ruts are really self-inflicted because I'm hard on myself. B, I'm emotional. And C, I'm just like, sometimes I'm just all up in my head it's just a mental thing for me. That's what keeps me in the ruts.
Well, you and me, excuse me. You and me have had plenty of conversations where I understand a lot of how you think. I don't put myself in a rut sometimes mentally from that perspective. Sometimes I just look at it as my ruts don't come from me. It comes from the outside. Like, my outside world is what kind of causes me ruts because I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, that's where I said, like, a lot of people enjoy having me around, but I do have an odd air of narcissism to certain qualities about my life. Like I am where I'm at because I'm narcissistic here, here, and here. But I'm loving here, here, and here. I'm strict here, here, and here. I'm out of my mind here, here, and here. I know it now. I know where I need to act in this position to be in this. And
You have different buttons about yourself.
yeah, and I think the older you get as a person, you start understanding what they are. And it's like, it's really unfortunate that some people choose to make such big commitments early in their life when certain life hasn't really passed them by yet. You know, I don't believe sometimes in marriage. I don't. I believe in being faithful and loyal to somebody. If you say you're going to be loyal to somebody, you fucking do it. I don't need the government to tell me that. I don't need you to get a pass from the government to say, oh yeah, well now we have to do this. It's like, no, like if I'm going to be loyal to you, I'll just be fucking loyal to you. If you need a piece of paper to say it, then let's go get that paper at the courthouse. You know, for all the people listening, it's like, you know, everybody, like I said, is still sold on like marriage just being this fucking grand fucking parade. And it's like, congratulations, like parade's over now. We're back to the street. We're back to the grind.
Like what's real now? Like it's time to get real.
Yeah.
Like we're in it, you know, we come back home, we're married, and what's next? Right? Kids.
And it was whatever it was the day before the wedding. The wedding didn't change what you were doing.
No, it didn't change your outlook. It didn't change your direction.
Wasn't supposed to, right? You were just supposed to use the wedding as the means of being like, hey, we're going to celebrate and tell all our friends and family that we chose to take this journey in life. And it's like, all right, cool. Like,
but you see, like what you said just makes so much sense to me. And I can kind of tie this into a situation that I'm currently in. And I know we're running over time and stuff, but it's all good. This is really good content. And thank you guys for hanging out with us. But what I wanted to say was, you were saying that at an early age, we make these commitments such as marriage and shit like that. And then
a car loan, a mortgage.
I'm saying,
like we lock ourselves in, and this might be
right. But what I could say is that's like, we lock ourselves into this box because society taught us that.
Yes,
like
100%.
Because I could look back at my student loans. And Philly Phil, like we were 17 years old, right? 17, 18 years old when we decided to go to college. So, and become an engineer. Yes, I'm an engineer now, but why did I have to decide at age 17 when I'm a baby at 17?
Yeah.
We're fucking kids, bro. You know what I mean? Like we're kids. Why did society pressure me into telling me what I needed to be in my life? Like when I needed to figure it out. Like I felt like society kind of pressured us. You had to have your life figured out and mapped out at age 17 so that when you're 22s and you're in your early 20s, you start growing into your career, your 30s, your 40s. Now you're reaching upper status.
So are you
why is that the society norm though? Because like,
are you asking
I'm saying I'm tying this into marriage because we make these young decisions at like why is the decisions we make at a young age affect our life so drastically for the next 10, 15 years? Like just one little mistake.
Because you're told that it's the status quo. That is just the thing you do.
Yeah.
And you don't question it. That's usually just it.
Yes.
You're told this is just the way it is, and these are the steps that you go through in your life.
And that's that's what we're circling back with marriage. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I've been with this girl. Jay's been with his ex for 11 years. They never got married, but the people that were with him were telling him 5-6 years ago before they broke up, why aren't you putting a ring on? What are you waiting for? Look now in the future. The fact that he didn't make that decision, he didn't fall into the rabbit hole of society's ways of when he should have gotten married.
Yep.
Based on the timeline that they spent together. So now it ties everything ties in, and now it's like we are so programmed into society's ways that we actually kind of dig ourselves a hole, because as time goes on, the world gets like different. Like there's so many things that change that where 10 years ago, if you did that mistake versus now, you be fucked 10 years ago as opposed to today.
Agree.
Like it's just one of those things, and it just ties back together. So like now I'm like,
so let me ask you this, right?
It's crazy, man. That shit's crazy, dog.
So
we're potting.
Oh yeah. So when you get to that level and you start looking at it from that perspective, this is where I think another part of this becomes very, very hard. And not even just for marriage, relationships in general. I'll even say friendships. I could go as simple as just having a connection with somebody. You know, you get to a point where, you know, you and me are podding right now. Let's just say this conversation goes real sideways. It's like, can we handle this? It's as simple as that. Can we handle this? Like, oh, I'm angry. It's like, well, can we adjust your anger? Like, that wasn't the goal, you know? And there's a lot of times I see that in shop all the time. Like, you see people's emotions get all riled up, and it's like, hold on. First off, we're in my fucking shop. Like, no one's going to openly disrespect somebody. So however you felt about what that cat just said, take a fucking seat. Let's digest it real quick and actually see if what he was trying to tell you was supposed to make you feel that. Well, maybe we could readjust the words that we used and just, you know, because like I said earlier, you know, I love the Kanye West thing. Like, Kanye said he thought in symphonies. I started thinking of it like that. I do the same thing. Like, I may say something, and trust me, like I said, my fiance is very good at helping me organize my symphony. She's very good at that.
Keeps you grounded.
Not
to a degree.
Well, no, she actually helps me find the ground.
Oh, okay.
Instead of keeping me grounded, like, she don't want me on the ground. She loves like helping me elevate to the next step.
She likes when you're high.
Yeah. High as hell, Ricky. Super high. But this goes back to, like, you know, being a person that understands a lot more to understand the goal. Like, and I guess the older I got and the more I understood about life, the more I started looking at marriages. Whew, wow, this is actually more than I even understood from when I thought I would have got married. Like, the pressure that I think it puts, like I said, I'm always speaking from a man's perspective here. Like, the pressure it puts on a man, that could break him. Like I said, like, I was close, you know, I don't think I would have actually did it, but like, you know, we were able to communicate. But like, yo, when I proposed to my girl and she kept running this whole thing, I'm like, please, you are driving me up a fucking wall because you can't just sit the fuck down and wait.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I just proposed to you 24 hours ago and you're trying to look at 16 different places. I'm like, you already stressed me out. I just made the hardest choice of my fucking life, and now you're fucking pushing it.
Yeah.
But it goes back to this understanding, like, once you can break that barrier of communication, like, yo, you're going to make me not want to do this if this is how you see it.
Mm.
And sometimes, like I said, you got to put people in a position to go, all right, you want this? Here. What you going to do with it? What you going to do with the responsibility? Because I'll be honest, I know what I'm ready to do. That's why I asked. That's why I said, will you marry me? Because I already thought 14,000 hours into it and 11 years into it prior of why I would ask somebody to marry me.
Yeah.
But I take that leap and it's like, yeah, I'm ready to fucking go. I need something as an entrepreneur to always be able to grow and focus on. Like, business can go but certain ways before there gets to a point where it's like, I don't want to do this.
You just have money.
Or
that's it. Like, yeah, if
money.
You just have money. But I think in your case, like, I think you're a more loving person. I think you have a good grip of what your future wants to look like. I think you have an understanding. You want a wife, you want kids, but you want it at your own pace to where it makes sense for you.
I wanted it to be
and
understood,
and both parties.
Yeah, I wanted it to just be to where even if my girl didn't understand what I was maybe thinking or doing, it's kind of like, yo, I got you. If I did something, like, I did it for us.
Yeah.
I remember I got rid of my Mercedes. You know, I got that Monte Carlo.
Fucking fire.
I love that car.
So fire.
But that got us into a little argument because she was like, why did you get rid of that car? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't need the car.
Yeah.
We don't need that car. I said, it wasn't even about paying the payment. I had broken it down. And this is another thing where I'm so logical because I have the same engineering background that, like, I look at things from such like an objective perspective that I'm like, you know, if I keep this Mercedes Benz, right? Yeah, I can afford it. I'm still saving money. I'm still doing my thing, but it's like, this car cost me $400 something for the payment, then $125 for insurance, then the $200 something for the gas, then the maintenance. And I'm sitting there doing the math, and I'm like, this car is going to set my future back 3 to 5 years financially, and I work from home. Why am I doing that? So I sold the motherfucker and went out and bought an 86 Monte Carlo. That car owes me nothing but to get me from A to B, and now that's going to protect our relationship even more stronger financially in the next couple of years. Now there's no debt. Like that's my big thing. Like, we talk about progress and us building. Like, I was broke as fuck for a very, 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 very long time. I reinvested so much shit that I was making into my life again and again and again. I'm 33, about to be 34. It's just finally giving me what I worked so hard for.
Yeah.
You know, and it took that long. Like some people just want it today. Like,
but I think you appreciate it more though, because of you understand how long it took to get there and what it took to get there. So I think you appreciate it a lot more, in my opinion.
man, if I'll tell you what, man,
It feels good, dude. Like honestly, dude. Like we talk about this all the time in the shop, and I tell you all the time, like Jay, you are doing so fucking good in life that you don't even know how well you have it, bro. You have zero fucking debt. You got a fucking a ring on your fiance's finger with zero debt, and you work for your damn self. Nobody fucking tells you, hey Jay, you can't take off on Friday because I need you. No, I'm going to take off on Friday because I'm my own fucking boss and I could do that. Your life is so good. And I think with you, you are a financially driven person. You are.
I'm logically driven.
Yes, but there's a lot of financial driven in that background. And that's okay. That's fine. That's what you value, and that's okay. So I think you just appreciate it a lot more, and then the journey of it. And I just think that, like, for you, I think you get caught in the rat race in your own head.
I do.
And yeah, and I think that's a normal human thing. But I think for you, if you just step back, you looked at Nick, me, you looked at Philly Phil, we're in student loan debt. You are like, damn, they're actually legitimately broke. They make good money. Yeah, they make like upper 90s, 100K, whatever, but they're fucking broke as shit. You know what I mean? Like they have all this debt. They're still paying, making these payments. When I get paid, I don't owe anybody shit. I'm a slave to the lender. Yeah. And that's what sucks. And that really kind of hurts, because when you actually work your ass off for your money, you want to keep that money. You want to see your money. But when I'm constantly paying Sally fucking May and doing this and that, and I'm not seeing, nothing but my pockets and lint in my pockets, it's depressing, bro, because, we work so hard and we achieve all these goals just to be in a fucking financial rut for a, even if it's a 10-year period, it's still a long time to get the fuck out of a hole.
Yeah.
See that you got out of the hole at age 33, turning 34, bro, your life is so ahead of where you actually think you're at right now.
So what if I could tell you though, and I've had this conversation with so many of my friends over the years, because they've brought light to me, if they were in my shoes, or, if I was in their shoes. And, I always like to look at that perspective. It's like, I can appreciate this part of my life to where I'm at, but something that I've like grown to be inside this new mindset of being able to push forward. It's like, holy shit, I'm here now. I don't want to think about that no more. I spent so many years struggling in my head, like of being broke and constantly being backwards and trying to invest this and getting fucked over by this guy. Like I'm still in a lawsuit with somebody. That dude owes me like 30 grand because he fucked me over on something. And I'm sitting there like, nobody really knows that. No one knows I've been screwed over here. Like I took my career with the utmost positivity. Like I'm going to get through this. And I didn't realize how many people were going to fucking step on me in the process, or try to. And some people that stepped on me squished me hard enough to where it's like, damn, like I got to sit down and recover. And it's happened to me multiple times in my life. Like, how they say like success isn't a straight line. It's
success is not linear. Let's put that on record.
No, but in a grand scheme, when we go back to the rising stock thing.
Yeah.
You pull a graph out and it's like, oh shit, that just steady went up. You know what I mean? But it's like you zoom in and it's like,
yeah.
It's like he lost one. Oh, big win. Oh shit, big loss. It's like, oh shit, real big win. And it's like you can go back and forth, and it's like I get to the point where, dude, I was broke for so long that was another part of my narcissistic quality coming out, but it was for myself. Like that was where I was like, okay, I do want certain things in life. What would I sacrifice to do so? Going back to marriage, what you're going to sacrifice? Like I'm very, very aware of sacrifice. I'm very, very aware of, while everybody was partying and living their life when they were in their teenage years, I was in Atlantic City on a boardwalk, with a change purse, giving out $5 rolls of quarters while everybody was out having fun. You know, like I look to a lot of things where now I'm finally starting to reap the benefits of it, but you know, I don't like going back too far. I do from time to time to remind myself of how I got here. But the hard part is like I remember student loans. I remember my cars being not paid off. I remember when I actually had a stint where I had actually sold drugs for a little bit of time, had all this fucking extra bread, and I pissed it away in a fucking club. And it's like, holy shit, I actually had my opportunity to destroy all my debt years ago. And like, you know, as we get older, I think we all start making choices, and our personal choices actually lead us to these places where you can finally say, I would marry this girl. You know what I'm saying? You can get to that point where it's like, yo, I think I've gained enough in my life to know what I can actually provide. Like, I think some people don't know what they can provide because they haven't been in the experience long enough.
Yeah.
Like they're here. And it's like, all right, cool. Like I have a lot of people in the barbershop that talk to me about trauma. And I'm like, trauma? Let's talk trauma. Tell me that your trauma holds you back so bad. So when they start telling me, I'm like, you're a pussy. Like, really? Like, did your mom and dad die? Because if they did, I'll be honest, I will console you and I will be there for you because that is one. But when you hear like certain these people like fucking pissed off and letting these emotions in their life over these stupid ass problems, I'm like, you're actually married? And you get to these references where it's like, you're a married man having this problem, you're a pussy.
Something so small
Yeah,
and insignificant.
Your wife should
causing
divorce you. Like I literally look at people like that. I'm like, dude, your wife should fucking divorce you if this is really how you think. I get real gritty with my people, man.
But you have to be, because transparency is everything.
Nah, you don't have to be, because I'll be honest, man. Like when I see people having problems with people, it's like I want to have that problem so we can understand it deeper. Like I want to. Some people are so scared to like actually like mix up that conversation. It's like, no, let's get to it.
But I think what I mean is like, you know, being there for people, even when you could just give them the slightest point of a, you know, piece of advice, that can go a long way to help them out with their current situation.
Well, I'll do that. I would be more than happy.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what's being transparent is a good thing. Like if you're agreeing with the person, you're actually doing more harm than good.
Unless you agree. And that's, I guess,
unless you actually like legitimately agree. But if there's something like completely obvious where the person is completely in the wrong, and yet you're just massaging the situation by telling him what he wants to hear, you're not helping him.
No, not at all.
You know, you gotta tell him what he doesn't want to hear so he can get a different perspective.
Yeah.
And this is a person that obviously respects your opinion if he's going to ask you and talk to you about these kind of problems.
Yeah.
So that's where the transparency thing kicks into me. It's like, I'm going to just fucking tell you straight up, I think you're being a pussy.
Yeah.
Straight up, I think you're being a pussy. And then this is why, X, Y, and Z. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have to do that because that's the friend in me.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing my justice as a friend by pussyfooting around with you and agreeing with you, because I'm not helping you get over the situation or even helping you progress. That's not a friend. A friend tells people what the fuck they need to hear.
Well, I'm going to go back to marriage for a second too, because this is a big one. And I also went through these struggles in my previous relationship, and I would find that, you know, I don't want to like put it out there too much, but like, you know, my ex-girlfriend would be asking people that were extremely unqualified to help her fix our problems that we were having. And I knew it not from like an ignorant standpoint, but like I knew her friends, and I was like, no offense, like your friends don't got a fucking dick to stand on to compare ourselves. Like they don't. So why are you asking them about what's going to fix your problem and our problem? It's like, this is our relationship. It's like anybody I actually go to talk to about, like, all right, let's say I got a problem with money. You know, I'm talking to my fiduciary. I'm talking to someone who is experienced in money problems. I don't care if you just want me to feel better. I want to do better. And there's so many people out there in their relationship that just want to feel better about what it is they're doing. You can't. You have to do better, and you start to feel better.
Right.
And that's the problem that I see a lot of people immaturely take on these commitments like marriage, a mortgage, a big car payment, like going back to the whole locked in thing. Like, what are we a slave to? And it's like, we can be a slave to our own poor decisions and not realize it for a couple of years in. And then it's like, oh, fuck, I made that choice. I didn't know it would lead me here. I think when people do anything like scratch just marriage, like anything big in between, it's like, you really have to know what it is you're doing. So when you say, what does marriage mean to me? It's like, marriage just means you're willing to do what you got to do to get through it. And some people haven't even been through anything to realize what the validity of that stress will be. I've been through enough stressful shit in my life to where it's like marriage. Well, shit, I understand the logical parts to what can go wrong and what can go right. But it's just like business, man. And that's why I say marriage and business, they kind of correlate very, very heavily. Because if you can go into business and go, all right, I sell ice cream. It's like, okay, I want to be a successful ice cream truck driver. It's like, all right, cool. What problems could you have just in case, you run into some? The truck could break. The fridge inside could be fucked up. It's like, all right, did you cover the fridge? Is the truck running fine? You got gas in it. It's like, okay, aside from something we do not know could happen, we got our problems covered so we can count our fucking profits. That is the same fucking way psychologically in relationships. Do you understand where you lack as a person? Me, I know exactly where I lack. And I can say this confidently because I've been inside myself so many times to understand it's like, I really merely only have an anxiety that I'm working hard for nothing. So that's why I work my ass off to the fucking bone. It's like, nah, because if it fails, it wasn't on me. Like I said, like some of my narcissism comes out in really weird quality.
You held up your end of the bargain.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. And sometimes you see a lot of people out there, like they took on the commitment and it's like, oh, well, this is happening and this is happening. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to go back to the experience thing. It's like, you're having a problem. You can't talk to your partner because you maybe want to find a better way that you can understand your thoughts through your friends or family. It's like, let me talk to somebody real quick before I make a mistake on the conversation. But then they have a great conversation with somebody who knows nothing about the problem. You take that same information back to the argument. It's like, that's fucking irrelevant to what we're doing here. And then it creates another disrest where it's like, no, because this is the way it's supposed to be. It's like, well, from whose point of view and from whose standard? So when I say like, you got to just know and be willing to put the ego down too. It's like, I know what I was like when I had an ego. I know where my ego needs to come out and I know when my ego needs to go away. That's something I think as young men, we don't know when to put the ego down. Now at 33, about to be 34, it's like, shit, man. I know, as they say, don't fight every war or don't fight every battle or, however that fucking saying goes, like pick your battles.
Pick your battles.
Yeah, pick your battles because sometimes it's like, if it's really important, the war works itself out. It does.
In the end.
Yeah, because you're going to war so much between the point where it's like, damn, we've gotten rid of all our men. And it's the two generals standing at each other. It's like, wow, we destroyed our men for our own ego. It's like, you can't get into any commitment when the ego doesn't match the understanding of the relationship. You can't. It's fucking impossible. And people don't really see that because the first thing they see is we're getting married. We're having a party. We're doing this. We're going to St. Lucia, or we got the grand ballroom over here at Bergalia's, and we got fucking stuffed cocktail shrimp over at the cocktail hour, and we got a mashed potato bar. We got the cool little DJ booth. I could run this for fucking days, and I could sit there and go, is that what your marriage is? You didn't talk to me not one bit about how much you love your girl. You just could only talk to me about how much this party means everything to you guys. Yeah. It's like, a party? Are you out of your fucking mind that that's what you consider to be the start of your marriage, a celebration? I'm trying to celebrate the fact that we got through this shit.
Yeah.
And that's why I proposed to my girl. We got through shit that I've never even gone through in my life, new with her. And I'm like, yo, this girl was right there with me. Not, and I like to say this too. If you and me take a ride right now and we go on a cross-country journey, but I drove the whole time, you weren't riding with me. You were sitting back in a fucking passenger seat enjoying the fucking scenery while I was stressed to make sure we got there the right way and got there safe. Did you get in the driver's seat and take a couple hours off my time? No, you were a glorified fucking passenger waiting to get to the destination. That's not a rider. That is not a rider by any fucking means.
I don't know.
Nah, I'm out on that, bro. You gotta take the wheel sometime.
Nah,
man. I gotta get out the driver's seat.
No, I'm with you on that. But here's another example that I have, and there's another situation that I was in a couple weeks ago. So Polidor, his boss called him. He had to go to the Poconos. He had to go to which was 3.5 hours away. Mind you, we had a party date we had to go to at 2:00. I woke up at fucking 6:00 in the morning because, I slept at his house so we can get there on time and come back on time. And he just needed somebody there. So I was kind of riding for him. I just didn't drive the car.
But for that,
that's a ride. I think that's a real friend. So don't shit on me for that. I didn't drive.
Maybe the example wasn't.
No, I'm just fucking around. But no, that's the situation that just kind of popped in my head because I'm like, well, here's the thing. I could have said no to him and he could have just rode by himself, and then I could have just said whatever, and I'll sleep the fuck in. I don't have to ride out with you.
Yeah.
But I actually left my fiance in bed, who tends to sleep on Powder's couch, for that reason, just to be there for him. So that's my.
But also understanding
counter.
the goal. Maybe he knew he was taking that part of the responsibility, and yours was only this. I think like when we're talking as deeper as marriage, it's kind of like, yo, I've been driving for 3 days. I need you to drive for me.
Yeah, help me out. Yeah, I'm exhausted. I'm tired as hell. My fucking eyes are baggy. I need a couple hours to rest. Can you please take the wheel?
And sometimes that's where I think we go back to infidelity.
Yeah.
I think that's where we go back to miscommunicating. I think we go back to having these expectations of people that are in our lives. It's like, what, I like to always ask my girl, like, if we got some type of disagreement, it's like, well, what's your expectation? Because if like I understand your expectation, I can navigate this way easier. There's been a lot of women in my life, whether we've dated or had a fling or whatever, where my whole goal is to just merely ask them, like, well, what do you want out of this? Like, I'm just kind of curious, like, is this a summer fling? Is this something to where it's like, hey, you're bored and I'm bored, and if something develops, it does. But like, again, like we're gonna bring this full circle: transparency, communication, putting the ego down, and understanding what it takes to really
make it work.
Yeah.
And making each other happy. That's the big thing.
But
to me.
I'll be honest, man. I don't want to make my girl happy. I want her to be able to make hers, because I'll be honest.
I want her to be happy. I don't want her to rely on me to make her happy. She has to be happy in general.
Yeah.
And then I add to it, which makes her even happier.
Yo, the 10% of marriages that I see that at least come into the barbershop right now, 10% of them that are thriving immaculately are because the woman is very understanding of the reality of life and can be optimistic about it. I watch too many women that I am friends with also, where they're telling me what they don't have. And I'm like, well, why is your expectation so fucking high? It's like your expectations just smoke the fucking joint of Snoop Dogg's weed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're all the way up here, and it's like, hold up. Like, there's a reality.
Hold up.
Hey.
That was a moment. That was a great moment.
But like, I don't know. I just get to the point where like, I just have to like analyze something to where I'd rather be logical and find my emotion inside of something.
Yeah.
Like this, like my logic was to get into my car and drive over here. Now the emotion is what we're going to be able to chop up in the process of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if I go into this all emotional, I may disrupt what it is we're actually going to be building. Like, you ever do something where like you're giving yourself a whole bunch of fucking anxiety, and then the moment comes and it's like you got no anxiety, and I'm like, God damn it, why the fuck did I just stress myself out for 2-3 weeks about this fucking ordeal or whatever it is I was about to do? And then the day came, I did it, and there was no anxiety, and it's like, wow, I just almost put myself through something I didn't need to.
You kind of like mentally prepared yourself in a way to lead to that point.
Well,
I do that too. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, I'm at the point in my life where it's like, I expect nothing from somebody. I literally don't. Like, whoever you are as a person to me is who you are. Like, I will accept you as you are.
Yeah.
If you're a piece of shit, that's cool. I don't hate you. I just know that you're a piece of shit. It's like, if you're a thief, it's like, oh, I don't hate you. Don't steal from me. But you're a thief. Like, I understand. Like, that DMX thing, he's like, you got to trust people to be themselves. And another thing with marriage that I see people not doing is actually knowing their partner before they choose to make this grand commitment.
Yeah.
Like, some people are like, oh, I knew in 6 months. Get the fuck out of here. You didn't fucking know in 6 months. You didn't go through enough in 6 months to understand that person. Sometimes it's just a justification other people will tell you to make the same choice that they made.
That's so real though, because like 6 months compared to a lifetime is literally laughable.
Yeah.
It's laughable.
I'm gonna make a life-changing decision in 6 months.
Because
how does that sound? That sounds ridiculous.
A 20-year-old experienced 6 months 40 times in their life.
Wow.
So think about that.
Yeah. Football. Football, baby.
Think about that. That's crazy when you actually put it in that perspective.
I got another one for you. You ready for this?
Yeah.
People that buy houses, right? I said this to my sister because I was just trying to like allow her to understand the logic of a decision that she made. And I said, you're only 28 years old. You haven't even lived long enough for the paper you just signed for that house. And think about how many things had changed just in the last 5 years. You've just committed 30 of them. 30, and you haven't even lived 30 years.
Wow.
Remind yourself.
That's crazy when you actually break it down on that 30-year loan on a house. And I'm 28. I'm going to own the fucking house longer than I've been alive at that point in time.
Well, remember I told you.
Wow.
Remember I told you I've been cutting hair longer than I haven't. 18 years I've been cutting. It's longer than I haven't.
That is crazy, dude.
But that is the only way I was able to even give you this conversation today.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I got time in the game. Like, I got skin in the game to where it's like, it's not a cocky thing. It's more of just like, I'm confident that I've been through more things than the average person in a certain amount of time. So it's like when I start talking to people about something, I'm not speaking to you out of my ass. I'm speaking to you out of experience.
Yeah, and that's what we appreciate about you the most. I mean, I certainly do. That's why I look forward to going and getting those haircuts, because I know I'm getting a different perspective from Jay. I know you're a very deep thinker. And when I go back and I rewatch this podcast, and I have to actually kind of like rewind a lot of the stuff that you said, because what you said, it was just so amazingly put. And it's so like, if you're not in tune with what you're actually saying, you're going to get lost.
Do you like The Dark Knight, the movie?
Dark Knight, I love it. It's one of my favorite movies.
Phil, you a big fan of The Dark Knight?
Yeah. Is that Heath Ledger? No, it's not that one.
Yeah, I understand the Joker a lot more now than I did when back in the day. Yes.
And that's something I've also liked to say to people. Like, remember how he was saying in the movie, he's an agent of chaos?
Mm-hmm.
I think you actually need to get to a place inside yourself to where you can even understand your chaos to know how great you can be acting without it.
Yeah.
You know, like I've told my girl this, like I was very, very transparent. I think my phone's going off. Hold on a second. Yeah. So I told my girl one day, we were having one of them deep ass conversations, and I was like, you know, how dark have you like traveled down? How dark have you traveled down in your own range? It was a tough conversation to have, but I was like, I kind of like related it to the Batman movie. It's like, yo, Bane was born in darkness. That's all he understood. You know what I mean? There's people that were born in the most beautiful light, and then literally the lights went out, and it's like, oh fuck, no, this is where I'm at. Like the lights are gone, man. Like you have to be able to operate in a dark sense.
You got to adjust on the fly. You got to figure it out. You got to just, that's part of life. But you got to figure it out.
But some people run from the dark. I'm running into it because you know what? Once you realize there's nothing in that dark room other than assumptions, you realize that room's just as empty as the bright room. We all think that there's something in that room, you know, but it's merely just our own assumptions of what our box in our head is going to tell us. So sometimes, like, going back to marriage again, like, I believe that I wouldn't marry somebody that never went to a dark place. I can't. Like, and this is why I said I proposed to my fiance. Like, she's told me the dark places she's been, and I'm like, wow, you got out of that. Holy shit. I'm like, I've never met people, or I've met a very limited amount of women in my life that were in that dark place that triumphed out of it. She is one of the few people where I'm like, holy shit, you actually understand the dark place I've been to. And she's like, yeah, me too. And I was like, that's something I will instantly be attracted to. I hate to say it in this way, but like, yo, if your life has been fucking cottonelle soft and you got fucking, you know, tissue paper in your fucking ears, it's kind of like, and you that soft and you don't understand life and you're naive. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't fucking put my life to someone who doesn't understand how dark this place gets. You know, like this life that we're in, you know, we're all very, very progressive, especially, you know, us three in this room, always trying to find something that we'd like to make better about life. And the hardest part is there's a million people out there that actually want to make their life better. And my goal as a barber is to say, all right, well, you don't feel good about something. Let's logically find what it takes to change your perception, you know? And that's a goal that I have with many, many people, because sometimes it's just understand. It's like, yo, stop running away from what you assume is to be horrible. It's not what you think. You know, they say that the anagram for fear is false evidence appearing real. And that's true. The things I've been scared about the most in my life, dude, were actually the easiest things in the world. And the things I thought were the easiest were the scariest. You know, going back to Phil, what you said about society, and, you know, we're taught sometimes to think within a certain means in a cage, like, and you know, if you haven't stepped out of your cage, like, how the fuck do you know what's out there in the jungle? You only believe what you can see in your cage, and it's kind of like you don't really understand. And people are so up their own ass that like they believe that they have this common understanding. It's like, nah, like, are you battle tested? You know, people speak about it all the time. Like, oh, I've been through this. I've been through this. It's like, that's not really relevant. I hate to say it, but like, it's not relevant. It's relevant to you. It's not relevant to the reality of the situation. You know, people get really misconstrued on that. And that's the fear. It's that false evidence thinking something's going to be what it is. And, you know, I see it so much that until the fear is gone, you can't make a big choice like getting married. You already have to kind of know that what you were scared of isn't that scary. We know what's scary in life. Losing people that are close to us, that's scary. Losing our financial situation, that's scary. Like, you know, something going wrong that drastically affects us in a negative way, that's scary. But to just be stuck in your own head, that's a fucking blessing. People think that that's a scary place to be in your head. It's like, no, that's the place where you actually find the answer. You find the answer in the darkness because you got to look around for it. You know, when you see everything and you don't see like the answer, it's like you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong room. You got to be in that dark place. And that's where I understood the Joker so much, because I was like, he has such a deep understanding of what he's trying to explain to everybody that it took chaos for them to even listen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He had to blow up a bunch of shit for people to go, what the fuck is this guy doing? And then he hits his monologue and he's like, people are so fucking stupid. You think you control everything. I'll destroy it real fast. And it's like, you need to know you actually have that kind of power to get through life.
Yeah.
Every person has that. They have no idea. Like right now, we could sabotage something beautiful we really wanted to. We're instinctual creatures. And this is where I say you go to a dark place to know how strong you are as a person. What could you do and what do you choose to do? I have over 1,000 people cataloged of all their fears, all their insecurities. I could be the biggest cocksucker in the world right now and expose over 1,000 different people. Corrupt cops, fucked up lawyers, dentists that do bad practice. And it's like, I could fuck you right now, but I understand the power of doing so. You understand the power that you have inside of life. You need to know that before you get married. You need to know what type of person you are. What are you fucking capable of? Like, what would you do? Like, you know, I told my girl, I was like, yo, if somebody ever did something to you, I'd kill them. She's like, no, you wouldn't. I said, you have no idea. You have no idea. When I say I'm committed, no one is going to fuck with you. And I leave it that
different.
way.
Yeah, you leave it that way. You have to.
Yeah, I don't care if she fucking sits there and says,
like, you mean that.
Yeah.
I can see it right in your eyes as you're talking, and you really mean everything you say, man. And that's,
you have to, man.
Yeah.
We have to commit to ourselves as well.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you, man. You've really broken that down really, really well. Yeah, everybody that's watching right now, man, please go like and subscribe to his podcast. He's Jay Hollywood from Listen, I'm a Barber. And this motherfucker, man, he could pot his ass off. Sat here for fucking 2 hours and we were talking about marriage.
Wait, this was 2 hours?
2 hours. It's 10 o'clock.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
We've been rapping for 2 hours.
We've been rapping for 2 hours, man. And you are very a deep thinker. And I think I appreciate more people like you in the world, because I have an affinity for somebody that can think outside the box.
Yeah.
And you're one of those people that I just genuinely love talking to.
I appreciate it.
And
man.
it's awesome.
I love talking to you too, man.
I really do. Like, I feel like you're one of the most, like, you're one of my favorite people that I could sit down and have a conversation with. And I tell my girl this all the time. And I'm like, man, like, you know, she was like, oh, you know, your haircut looks good. I'm like, yeah. But like, that wasn't the best part. the best part was like, yeah, the haircuts are fucking amazing. Don't get me wrong.
We knew the haircut was gonna be
yeah, it's really good. But like, that's not the whole thing of the pie. The big part of the pie was the conversation that I had with Jay. And I appreciate people like you. And I wanted to ask you, man, like, I know you have your own podcast. Like, what are you looking forward to the most coming, you know, in the next year or so? And I can give my answer for my podcast as well. And we're going to be doing a lot more collaborations. I think this has been a really fun podcast for me. And I've learned a lot more than I probably should have known of you, but that's okay. No, it's okay. This is good. This is good content. I think your stories could really resonate with somebody out there that's actually kind of thinking about, hey man, do I actually really want to get engaged? And if they watch this and they think about it a little bit deeper, you could have probably just changed somebody's family tree financially for the next 10 years.
Maybe. And look, my whole goal when I talk to people is you don't even have to follow what I'm saying.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I think what I'm saying is your different perspective is what's going to bring it out. Like, I think so somebody can mean like, oh yeah, marriage is like, I think it's the most beautiful thing. I think, $50,000 party is that's the society's ways. And you're saying like, nah, that's great and all, but you have to actually think, am I committed to this shit? Like, what does the word marriage mean to me? And I think that conversation is really going to help a lot of people if they sit down and really dissect what you're saying.
I hope so, man.
I think it's a good thing. I think perspectives matter. I think different people's opinions matter, whether they agree or not. They don't have to agree to this shit, but they'll think about it.
That's all I want you to do.
They'll think about it, motherfucker. They will. Because I thought about it. I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh shit, yeah. All right, yeah, I got you, bro. Yeah, like this is expensive. I get it. No, it is, but yeah, man. It's like, so what do you got going on with your podcast? Coming up. I know you just filmed. You just ended season 1, which I was grateful to be a part of. That was a lot of fun.
Man, that was
me and Pals were on there. Which, by the way, I miss him so much.
Yeah, dude. Because you know what, Pals is married, and I think I would love to also sometimes see the other side. But the people that I talk to on the other side, there's always the same thing. Yeah. Oh well, this is what I'm doing, and I'm like, that's not what I'm getting married. Like, if I'm going to talk to somebody and say I'm married, that won't be my answer. And it's not to say that that's his answer. Everybody has a different answer. Everybody has what they want to be the justification for why they do something.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's cool. Pure perspective.
Yeah.
And I love to know all of them. Like I said, I'm going to think in a symphony. I'm going to think of your symphony, his symphony, mine. And it's like, all right, well, he's the guitar. He's the drummer. It's like, yo, let's put this all together to make one beautiful sound.
One beautiful band.
Let's
rock out, man.
That's it.
But yeah, let's go with just give me a sneak peek for Listen, I'm a Barber season 2.
Ooh, okay. Quick one, because I don't want to drag too far, so I'll let them watch.
But yeah, quick.
I'm doing a lot of personal one-on-ones. Like I'm gonna take a step back real quick from like the guest thing. Like, I'm still gonna have guests on, but a lot of people told me that they thought the conversations were great, but sometimes it is hard to find somebody like you I can talk to all day.
Yeah.
Like, I could run shit with you all day because we're both in a deep thought.
Yeah.
But the hard part is, that's sometimes not the conversation I have with everybody. So the best part about having all the guests was I got a chance for people to see how I interact with other people, even though we don't think the same. It's like, no, I can still respect your way of life and I can still chop it up because I did the same thing. But it's like, all right, cool, but I'm not there anymore. And my mission now is to talk about the things that either hindered my life or actually hurt it to where I didn't get somewhere because I was either overly emotional, I was immature on my decisions. And it's like, now it's like, all right, I'm going to tell you what I did in life and what you can either do yourself or choose a different route. Because I'm taking all things that I've done that some people, like they say I did very well in life. And it's like, I always appreciate that. But
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. But I could also tell you, like, all this information that I tell people, it's like, I live that to be able to tell you. So that's where it's like, there's a whole bunch of heartache. And every time I say something like that, because I had to figure that out myself, if I could give it to somebody else before they experience that heartbreak, that's my homie. I wish you could, or not you, but like, I wish anybody that is listening to me, it's like, yo, listen to me so I can help you, as opposed to you thinking I'm trying to overstep my boundary and tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing. It's like, nah, you could do it this way. You don't have to, but
it's an option.
It's an option.
Yes. And that's where I'm saying it. You give people a different perspective. And I think that's really, it could help a lot of people. Yeah, I think it really could. So that's season 2 for Jay. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this thing up, man. I had a fucking blast,
dude. 2 hours.
This is probably our longest podcast ever. Philly Phil.
Yeah, I think so.
This is our longest podcast ever. So yeah, this is the 163 special, man. I appreciate Jay for coming on. Thank you so much, everybody that's listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe listen, I'm a Barber podcast because this guy is fucking dope and you don't want to miss any of his content. I've watched every single episode. It's fucking fire. But yeah, and he will be back on, and I'm sure vice versa. We'll be, P and I will be on Listen, I'm a Barber. So
we're bringing it back.
Yeah. So, but for everybody that's listening right now, please, thank you guys so much for your support, your comments. We appreciate all that. I mean, it's been a fun show. If you guys haven't done so already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on YouTube. We're also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart, Megaphone, Stitcher, and all that other shit. I usually do that to Pauls. I
was waiting for you to figure that out.
I had to do it. But I just want to wrap it up. This great show. I just want to shout out my brother, Pauls. He's not here today. He just had his second. Brother. Yeah, we do. He just had his second beautiful baby boy, Christian Michael. I am so proud of you and so happy for you and your family and Allie. And yeah, man, we can't wait to have you back. And hopefully I see you on Tuesday. So peace out. We'll see you guys next week at P&I, baby.
Yeah.
I'm caps lock different. It's facts, not fiction. Said I black out for real, then the track gone missing. If it's cap, I'm dipping. We ain't talking about a move, then it's flatline finished. When I spaz, I'm grinning. Put a peel off in the Sadies and I pass by spinning. It's perks with this life, but I don't have my skinnage. Took a quick trip and now I'm back home winning. And I see they eyes pop like I snack on spinach. Pull up to the spot, she try and grab my digits. I'm already 8 shots, a Henny past my limit. Here you go. Hazards with a dash full of tickets. I'ma act like I don't see them. I got bad eye vision. Y'all can't pass my scrimmage. While y'all tripping, it's Aruba. I really